Annectens, connecting professionals.
Hi everyone. Just wait for 5 minutes more and then we'll start.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, guys. So thank you everyone. Welcome to the class. And we are so happy to have you here. And Annectens Academy is more on to help you to grow, support one each other. Okay. So don't hesitate to ask questions and be yourself. And we'll be covering, this is a PowerPack sessions. We'll be covering end to end Intune from the beginner to architect level of questions. And what should we answer? How should we answer? What should we frame in the interviews? We'll be talking about it. So more on, before I start, let me give my introduction. So my name is Vaibhav and I am enterprise architect and I have more than 15 years of experience in enterprise industry, and I've been working with endpoint management. I've been working with cloud. I've been working with endpoint security and macOS, VMware virtualization. So I have a good exposure on various technologies and how the scale works. And I'm also in project management. So I'm also working on multiple projects. Okay. So my exposure is vast and enough. And that I wanted to cater to help you out, boosting your career to the next level. Okay. So how you can elevate your career, this is just a beginning. This is just a PowerPack sessions to help you out more on understanding the concept and more on how as an architect think about the questions and how they respond. This is the session is all about. Okay. So before jumping in, just to give you heads up, those who are already in Annectens student, they're already aware about what benefits we are getting with the Annectens Academy. But more on, it's just an FYI that we give you a lifetime free revision classes. So if you enroll for one class, you are entitled to get lifetime free revisions. Also, as an expert, we have other people from the backend who do support your queries. So if you have any concerns, any doubt which is pertaining to your training, we can help you with clearing that doubt until you are fully satisfied. There are documentation plus SOP which also concludes with your recordings, which you're in the class what we cover. We are giving you free access of recording lifelong. Until unless you don't make your thought change. And we help you with the interview preparation. We help you with the community access, latest job posting, certification assistants are also there. So if you have any vendor in your mind like Microsoft, AWS, Google, Salesforce, whatever, we help you catering and help you with that certification with 100% result. Also, we give you a free resume sample to continue hunting your job. If you already have a professional resume with you, we help you with proofreading. If there is any changes that are required, we help you. The last unique feature or you say USP of this Annectens is the live production issues. So we help you with your live production issues lifetime. This is a free assistance and we does not charge for anything. When you are part of Annectens, whatever production issues you are coming up or getting, we are there to help you out. So this entire fraternity is there to help you and make you to the next level. Before I dive in, just to give you heads up, I have been part of this industry. So I'm currently working with a company where I spent almost my 6 years. Okay, now I have switched my roles. Okay, and I appeared for 5 companies. Okay, in 5 companies I got the offer letter from 4 companies. This is a good news, guys. Those who are waiting for the good news, so this is the news. I got offer letter from 4 companies. So one company is a Fortune 500 and name starts with A. I think you guys can guess it. Okay. Another company is a techie giant and also more on in the heavy lifting. So their name starts with the T. So you guys can, I mean, guess it out. Another company is a e-commerce giant in India. Okay, and this is based out of Bangalore. So they also offered me a good amount or salary, I would say. Okay, and I have another Japanese bank. Okay, that has offered me a good salary package. Okay, now why I wanted to give this session, because this Fortune 500 company or this tech giant or industry, working in the industry heavy lifting, and another one is a giant in India in e-commerce, and another one is Japanese big brand or is a big bank. Okay, so these 4 company has already offered and I'm still in the notice period. Like, I did not even put down my paper, but I will start doing that. So I have 90 days, and in 90 days I have plenty of offers that I can get from other companies. Okay, I did not do anything extra, and whatever I did I'll just gonna share with you. And people saying that 90 days is very tough. People are not going to give you weightage on the 90 days notice period and all, and I'm looking for a job, I'm not getting it. So it's all I would say it's all wrong. Okay, people are there. If you have the right skills, if you can present yourself rightly, if you know what to say and how to say, you will definitely able to crack the interview. Okay, I don't say I'm very much fortunate, because uh 6 years I did not even look for the job, I did not even hunt for the job, and whatever I get it, it's all from the Naukri. I did not share any resume over the LinkedIn or anywhere. I did not even posted anything that I'm looking for something. I please help me out. I did not even scream. I did not even uh, call out anyone to help me with that. It's plain Naukri, and I did not even took the paid subscription as well. But still, I got the 4 offers. Okay, so what I'm trying to say, if you believe in yourself and you have the right, if you have concept ready, if you know how to crack it, you can better do it. So 4 offer already I have, and I'll be deciding where I should be going and which company is better for me, which company is actually suited for me, for my profile and role sort of. So I'll be taking care about those. Okay, so just start. I just want to give you this good news, thought of sharing everyone. Now let's talk about this PowerPack session. So this session is gonna be 2.5 hour session. I certainly want you to take some coffee or water bottle with you, because we are talking more in deep about the concepts and how does things work. Okay, so starting up now, I don't want to delay any further. So let's start with Windows Autopilot. Windows Autopilot is very hot topic. Okay, in today's infra world, I would say. So first question, think Windows Autopilot in this sense that Windows Autopilot is something, is we talking about a house. Okay, in that house we already have painted walls. Okay, we already have installed lights, we already have a fixed modular kitchen, right? So think in that logic that you already have everything set up, you just need to come. Okay, you just need to come with your belongings and just shift here. Okay, so that is what the co-pilot is. Now how would you respond to the questions? Okay, what sort of questions that comes? Understanding of autopilot in a nutshell. It's a cloud-based provisioning service that automatically configures Windows devices when they are ready. So one more doubt people having, like if you are coming from SCCM background, so if you know, we talked about OSD there, okay, OSD, which is operating system deployment. Okay, so Windows Autopilot is not OSD. Okay, this is absolutely not. This is as good as you have a pizza. Okay, you already have frozen pizza, you already baked it, you already did the seasoning and all, and you take the bite, okay, and you eat it. It's all pre-baked. We just need to choose some customization and start doing it. It's nothing operating system deployment. In interview they ask, can we have our organization image installed on the Autopilot machine? Can we use that? So straight answer is no. Okay, in Autopilot series in Intune Masterclass, we already talked about it, but those who are new, just to give you a heads up, it's completely no. Windows Autopilot is a service which is a cloud-based provisioning. So that will only help you to configure, since OS is already there on the device, so you are not adding up anything on that. Okay, so be very much clear about this answer. Okay, so next is, we're not doing any imaging, we're not adding up any USB, we're not doing any pixies, we're not touching anything on the laptop. Okay, so your interview answer would be Windows Autopilot provisions and configures devices directly from the cloud using Intune and Entra ID. So Entra ID is why required. So we have this, like we have Intune here, right, and we have this Entra ID, right? This is called Entra. So Entra ID is what, and this is a user, right? For example, so Entra ID will validate whether this user is having the credential right or not, whether he is having a right license or not, whether he is authorized to use this service or not. Okay, that is what the Entra ID role is. It's more on the identity, right? Nothing more than that. So Intune and Entra both combines together. That is the cloud-based service which facilitates Windows Autopilot provisioning and configuration on the devices, which is directly coming from the OEM. OEM is the original manufacturer who sends the device. So with Windows Autopilot, we have this flexibility. We can directly get devices from OEM side and we can provision it and send it to the user's home, right? How do you continue clients to use Windows Autopilot? I mean, how do you convince clients? So this is an architect question. Like this was a question of the interview. Like you have on-prem, right? Since every client who were part of infra, they are more feel secure on-prem, right? They don't want to move to cloud because they feel there will be a compromise on the security side. Okay, so question comes, how do you convince, or how do you make sure that your client starts using the modern management, right? So how do you manage that? And that is only be done through the Autopilot. Okay, so with Autopilot, how do you cater this? So we need to give them example. Okay, if I go to real life example, the old way when we were visiting the office, we used to, there is an IT person who is actually installing operating system on that OS, then he is installing applications, then he is checking the securities, and it wastes like 2 days is wasted in those provisioning. Okay, you might have seen a heap of the laptops, you know, sitting putting next to the IT admins, and they are like putting their all efforts to make sure that the new joiners who are coming, they should have their laptops prepared way before, right? But Windows Autopilot, what it says, laptops directly delivered to the home of user. Okay, user is logging in and is ready to use this device in 30 to 60 minutes. So this will, what you're saying, this will cut short time of provisioning, right? So this will save your time, this will save your infrastructure, this will also save the effort. One person who is mad about the provisioning, he's keep on doing the laptop provisioning, he will at least take some breathe and he can also do something else. Okay, so this is a real life example that you need to share with your interviewer, that this was the case earlier. Now this is the case where we can have use a business benefit. We can have a zero touch deployment. We can have people working from anywhere. Okay. We have a less IT cost and we have a faster onboarding. So earlier, when people were they were forced to come to office, sit and get that laptop, get that connected to the LAN, check everything, and then they used to be either in the office or in the remote office, wherever they need to be in the office somehow. But now, since Autopilot came into the picture, we had all these dependencies got vanished. Okay, so you need to talk about the benefit first of all when you are coming to interview for autopilots. Okay, so what would be the power answer? Autopilot reduces deployment time. First, we'll talk about how we can safeguard the timing. So it will deployment time will be reduced. We will eliminate the imaging infrastructure. So which means we are not going to use SCCM at all. I mean, in my 2 accounts, I've already deprecated SCCM. We are not using at all. We are only using Intune and Windows Autopilot. And we are supporting remote workforce securely after COVID. Like everyone is aware about after COVID, like everyone started working from home, right? So that has become norm now, and now everyone is looking to work from home or remotely somewhere. They don't want to come to office, or maybe they are stuck with something. They don't want to travel that long and come to the office. So this is Windows Autopilot is a solution for that. Okay, so this is how I convince or you convince to your clients. Then what would be your strategy to move to Windows Autopilot? Okay, so first strategy is like we are shifting entire family. We're thinking that entire family can shift one day in one house, which is not possible, right? So the same way we think here in Autopilot also, always say them that it will be a phased deployment. Okay, so first we will go with pilot, then we will choose partial, and then full shift. Means we have 10 devices. Out of 10 devices, we will take 2 devices as in pilot. Okay, then we will take 2 more devices as partial, and then we will take the 6 devices as full shift. So in 2 devices, we will keep on checking whether the hardware compatibility is there or not. Okay, whether the device is having antivirus or EDR, whatever you have solution, you will check whether that is working or not. You see the policies are working or not. Okay, how about the applications? Are they compatible or not? If those are LOB or legacy applications, so you will also want to test that out. If everything works fine, then you will gradually move to 2 more devices. You will add in that pilot collection, okay, and the pilot group, and you will see how the response is coming. Are we good with this, or do we need to deprecate and we need to only stick to the 2 devices? Once you gradually move in, then you can move on to 6 devices, and you can see that all 10 devices are now working fine. Then going forward, you can move ahead with the Windows Autopilot. So Windows Autopilot is more on setting up the requirement first, testing it out, and if everything works fine, then you should think about moving it forward. So strategy should be more on, first we'll choose pilot group. We will have those devices cloud join first, then we will go with hybrid join. Don't run after joining that device first in the hybrid. Okay, it will create mess. First try cloud join, which means Entra join first, then then have the hybrid join profile deployed on that device. See if that device is joining to hybrid or not. Then use minimal applications, which is like Chrome or 7-zip, something which is very minimal, does not have lots of logics, lots of requirements in background. Go with that. Then choose the gradual rollout and see how the moments are going. So your interview line would be, I will follow a phased ring-based migration strategy starting with pilot user. Okay, they don't want you to mess their environment, so that's why you need to be very particular about it, using this word that I will choose phased deployment, and I will also go with the pilot user first. That would be the strategy. Okay, what is hybrid and cloud based? Okay, so this questions comes. So hybrid is something in plain and simple scenario, like you are living in a flat, okay, but your office files are still in your hometown cupboard. Okay, that is hybrid. Means you somewhere you're working in the office, now you left or you are at your home, but still your important files are there in your home, in your cupboard somewhere. Okay, it's not that you are hanging around and you are just bringing it all where. It's not like that. So that is hybrid. Cloud is something where everything is sitting in the cloud or Google Drive. Okay, which means that whenever you require, you can directly go to your Google Drive and you can download those files. So that is the differentiation of the hybrid and cloud. Okay, so now we will understand what would be the answer. So hybrid join integrates on-prem AD with cloud identity, while cloud join is fully Azure AD based, means Entra ID. Cloud join means we do not have any interconnect with our on-prem, but we all setting, everything is setting from that Azure AD. Okay. So cloud based is more of Entra ID join plus Intune, and hybrid is more on your AD join plus Entra registered. Okay. Always keep this table in your mind whenever you are answering. Okay. What is self-driven and user-driven mode? Okay, everyone I think is well known about the self-driving car and all, right? So self-driven car means you do not have any users driving in, right? Can someone please go on mute? It's disturbing actually. All right, sorry guys. Okay, so we talked about auto mode, like self-driven and user-driven. So self-driven is means you do not have any driver who's driving the car, and user-driven, of course, you have some driver present in that. So this is very plain, this is very basic. You just need, this is just to make you understand how does this differentiation work. Okay, so user-driven is requiring users to sign in. Okay, while self-driven provisions devices without user interaction. Means user-driven, I'm a user, I received a laptop, I will sign in, I have a license, it will work. If I'm setting up any kiosk machines which is there, for example in airport or any retail shop, so at that moment I do not require any users to go and sign into that device. Okay, so that will be without users interaction. Okay, this is especially user driven is for laptop for employees, and self driven is more of kiosk and shared PCs. Okay, what is called white glove? Okay, this is very confusing, and people ask it is more on for Windows Autopilot. This is a older term called pre-provisioning that was called as white glove earlier. So technically white glove means it is like you pre-installing all the applications, security, everything before you hand this over to the user and he signs in. Okay, so it is as good like Amazon is delivering a phone. So what they're giving you that open box, they're setting up open, giving you that phone, installing application, and then they're giving it to you. That is what called white glove or pre-provisioning. Okay, so answer would be white glove is more of the preparation of the device before that user receives it. So it will reduce the first login time, which means you're not giving a chaotic situation to user, like he's just setting it up and then waiting for all the applications get installed and everything then set up. So it will take like 4 to 5 days or 4 to 5 hours or 6 hours. So that depends. Then when do you need a connector for Autopilot? So people get confused in this as well. So connector is something like this is my AD. Okay, this is my AD and this is my on-prem, for example, and this is my cloud. All right, so this AD is connected here and I want to set a connection. In between. So in that I want a connector, and connector is mainly required when you're doing a hybrid join, okay, or you're doing a domain join, or you want a particular naming convention from AD. Okay, At that point only we require this connector. Otherwise, we do not read connector. If you are setting up a Entra ID join, you don't need any connector in this sense. Okay, so always keep in mind connectors works only for the domain join or hybrid join scenarios. So cloud actually cannot talk to your on-prem AD alone. We require someone to connect both the entities or both the world. So Intune connector is required only for hybrid autopilot scenarios. Otherwise, we do not need it. Okay. So and this connector is also known as ODJ. Okay. This connector is called name is offline domain join. Okay. So always remember this is only required for hybrid scenarios. Otherwise, we don't need it. Rest is what permissions do you need to set for the connector. So of course, when we are talking about domain join, so first permission will be domain join permission, so that connector can talk to, I mean, in masterclass, we have already covered 14 steps are there in the background, which takes place when your device gets a hybrid join. So domain join permission is the first permission, then create computer objects is the second permission. Third is which OU should this device go. So if you know that on-prem AD, okay, on-prem AD is more on a hierarchy structure, okay, where we have OUs, users, groups, other sort of OUs, all sort of things are information are kept like this, okay. But if you go to cloud is a flat structure. Even, I mean, in cloud, you cannot even have a policy, a group policy. Okay. Why? Because this is a flat structure. So we require a connector in between so it can bind these two, right? And so we require OU permissions. We require a local admin or on the connector server. So if this connector have right permissions, then it can join devices from this world to on-prem world. Okay, and if the permissions are not there, then it will fail the domain join. So I hope this connector is quite understood. So cloud cannot talk to on-prem, so connector is required. We require a certain permissions so that it can create a computer objects and it can go and set that in OU. Do we require direct line of connection for hybrid scenarios? Okay, so in this, of course, yes. So when you are using a connector, so it must reach to the domain controller. Okay, if it's not reaching out, then there is no sense of having connectors and the connection will not be established and your device will not be domain joined. And VPN and express routes are needed at that point of time. So if if your user is sitting at home, okay, first example, and he received a laptop, okay, and if this laptop is a Windows Autopilot, so he need to have that VPN first of all. Okay, that VPN will be working so that it will connect this hybrid environment, and then he will be able to, guys, please go on mute if you're not speaking. Then it will connect that device to hybrid domain join. Okay, so otherwise we do not require anything, but first log on. At first time, we require this device to have a direct line of connection with your AD, so it can connect and add this object in the on-prem AD. Okay, so it is as good like you have a postman, and that postman must reach to your home. Okay, it's not like on the cloud. It should reach out to your home address and talk to you, like ask like whether is this delivery for you, is this your name, is this your address, is that you only, then he will hand it over to you. So likewise, we need to have a direct line of connection for hybrid scenarios, and this question answer is yes. Okay, so we require a connectivity here the first time. What is the flow of Windows Autopilot? Okay, this is very common question that comes. So Autopilot flow is where we are choosing the identity first, then management second. First of all, we are identifying that user. If that user identity is correct, then the rest of the management will work. If you are coming from Intune masterclass, we have already talked about this. These are the 14 steps which takes place. I'm not gonna take much time on this, but this is how device checks in, and then the registry data gets, or objects get driven through the DRS service. Okay, and DDS things here. This is where the connector is, okay, which is installed on server 2K16 or later, and this connector will be talking to this DC, okay, and we will be giving the permissions, right permissions, so that it can talk to this, and then this device will have that policy downloaded, and it will add the domain join, and that is how the 14 steps. I'm not going to elaborate more on this. And DJ join exe, which will running in the background on this connector, which keeps on checking which device has checked in recently and which OU should this device go to. So everything is clear. If you like, whenever you are appearing for interview, you always make this diagram in the air. Okay, tell that, okay, there are 14 steps going on. First step, like you received laptop, you enter your login credential, your license is checked, then your Intune service goes to the Azure AD. It marks that device entry, gets the device registered. Then DRS service is actually the discovery service which checks about which device has checked in. Then there is a zero touch DID, zero touch deployment ID, which is created for Windows, which is like hardware hash ID when you are uploading hardware hash ID. So that ZTD ID is also checked in. That ZTD ID will be added to your Azure AD. Then Azure AD will talk to that connector and tell like this device is newly checked in. Where should I put it? Connector already have a permission, so he will check with the DC, add that device to the right OU, and likewise. And that is how you see that device is now hybrid joined. So during the hybrid join, machine will get restarted 2 times or 3 times, depends, and then it will be added to hybrid join. So all you need to create this diagram in the air and telling that to visualize like this is how things are moving. This is how you need to give your interview. Okay, so that will create an impact. Now, next question is, what errors do you face during Windows Autopilot? So most Autopilot failures are happening due to app detection, or there is a connectivity rated, nothing more than that. App detection means app is keep on trying to install, then it fails, there is a error code generates, or there is a connectivity failure because of the network or network disconnection. So mainly what happens when you're setting up Windows Autopilot, first your ESP page, okay, that will stuck. So ESP page will stuck. Reason, because most of the time you will see that there is an app failure is happening. Device is not assigned, means the group issue, the dynamic linking is not properly done. Hybrid join failed means connector or DC issue. Okay, timeout means there is heavy applications which are commonly taking time and it's getting timed out, or there is a detection which is not properly done. Lots of things could be during the provisioning. We may check in the logs and tell, but majority of the times failure happens with the connectivity and app detection. Okay, what logs do you check for Windows Autopilot? This is a very common question. So first log is provisioning diagnostic provider, okay, device management diagnostic provider, and Intune management extension.log and MDM diag report. These are the important logs which needs to be captured during the troubleshooting. Okay, so I will say I will check Autopilot event logs and Intune management extension logs, which talks way beyond than the required info. So we can take a look on this. I mean, these 4 things only we talk, it will clear the doubt that he will know that you know about what it is. Okay, what is difference in OSD, operating system deployment, and Windows Autopilot? So OSD is more of focusing on the imaging. It is very cluttered, it is very much I would say complex. Autopilot focuses on the provisioning. It is very straightforward. OSD requires you need to have a golden image, then you create a vanilla vanilla, then golden image, then you deploy it, then you test it, and then you capture that image, then again you replicate that and get it installed. So all this takes time, and OSD is very complex. There are multiple task sequences which is running in the background. That is curbed here in Windows Autopilot. So we are not doing all this. We are straight away having operating system installed. We are just making it up, ensuring our organization's standards are implied on that, and that's it. So nothing more on Windows Autopilot we are doing. OSD is more on a building a house. Autopilot is more on a buying ready flat. Okay, it is very simple logic. Okay, so OSD requires imaging on-prem, imaging in because of OSD we require lots of manual stuff. Autopilot is straight away provisioning. In OSD we require an on-prem infrastructure. Without that it will not be working. Autopilot is simply depends on the cloud. Okay, OSD is more on the IT driven. You require IT admin, you require a SCCM admin or architect who will be doing all this task sequences and all. Autopilot is more on a user driven. Okay, you just require a user with a license and he just straight away log in and gets this done. Okay, so very straightforward. So don't get confused in these two. Next question they ask, like, what is the naming convention in hybrid autopilot? How do you set names in hybrid autopilot scenarios? So if you are coming from Windows Autopilot, you know that there are deployment profiles which we create, okay, especially to join that machine to hybrid domain. So in that there is an option to set the prefix, like we can have some 3-digit number and then some random serial number, or you can have something random number, okay, and you can have this. So we can also check, or you tell that we have a OEM vendor, okay, who takes care about the like namings and all. So it's all client who's actually taking care of us. We are not doing anything. We are only having this plain prefix, and then later point of time they are recognizing it, they are putting a sticker on the laptops, whatever. I mean, in your scenario you can tell. If you have genuine scenario, you can simply tell like, okay, this is what we follow. Otherwise this will be the common factor that you can showcase to them. So naming convention is more on control via hybrid domain join profile. In that profile only we configure what could be the prefix, what would be the serial number, all things we can have this in this naming. Okay, so it is as good like your company is assigning an employee ID. It could not be a random name. If your name is Vaibhav, then your employee ID should have that name on top of it. Okay, now come to the application deployment. So Windows Autopilot is more burning topic. Everyone is asking about it, and they are more looking for the experienced guy who has worked on it. So in our demonstration in our lab, we do all this in manual way. We have a lab environment set up where we perform all this Windows Autopilot. So in Hyper-V we have multiple VMs. We can do all sort of troubleshooting, testing, break it, again make it, see what is happening with this profile, see what is happening with deployment profile with other settings, and you can have a look on that. Okay, let's come to application deployment. So application deployment flow, they will ask what is the flow of application deployment, how does the flow works. Okay, so flow is simple, that they are asking what is the logic, how do you assign an application. So first you assign this to a user device will sync to Intune. Intune extension will be downloaded. This is an app which will be downloaded. Then it will check and detect whether it's installed or not, and then it will report the status. So application deployment is more on, first it starts with assignment, then followed by the device sync. It downloads the Intune extension, installation will happen, detection will be begin, and if the detection is correct, then it will report that this device having this application installed. Okay, so real life example, if I say, you can more correlate. If you order a food from Swiggy, you place an order, your restaurant will prepare that food, delivery boy will take it, they will reach out to you, and once you receive the food, you confirm to the delivery boy that yes, I received the food, and that is how you make the payment. That is how the your food delivery or restaurant knows that yes, you received the 4. This is how the application deployment works, nothing more than that. Okay, it's very clear. Okay, what is Intune management extension? That is the next question comes. So Intune management extension it's a service. This service will be installed automatically, and this is more of when you require Windows 32 applications. This is a really important driver, okay, which helps you to execute and install the commands. So in real life, we talked about delivery boy plus, delivery boy is like your installer. Okay, it will bring the package, it will have this installed, it will confirm the completion. So your answer would be, this path of this program would be C program files, Microsoft Intune management extension. This is where you can go and check on any Intune registered device. You can see this Intune management extension will be there. Okay, so the answer would be like Intune management extension is responsible for installing Windows 32 applications and scripts. So mainly if you are running any PowerShell script also, without Intune management extension, this will not work. Or if this service is not running on that device, it will also be failing. So your first priority is to check whether this service is running, and in this folder whether the extension is there or not. So you will see like, yes, deployment is success or not. This is how you can check. What logs do you check for application deployment? So first and foremost log is Intune management extension.log. So this is like, there are a couple of logs which you can also refer them. First of all, you will tell like agent executor.log. This log is very important. Intune management extension, which talks more about everything. Second is you can tell them agent executor.log, which is more on the install execution. Then app workload, whether the app is assigned to that device or not. And then device management enterprise diagnosed provider. This is where you can see MDM events and see in the event viewer what has exactly happened on that device. So primary log is Intune management extension.log, and the next log is MDM diag report. So MDM diag report, you can simply go to your device. From there you can go to work and school. Then you see the connected domain. Click on info, scroll way to the bottom. You will see there is something called MDM diag. Okay, so you can get that button to export. Okay, and that report will be saved on your device. I think this goes to C program files. We need a program data. So you just need to check that log file, see what is happening. This is like a hell lot of information in that MDM diag report. So you will get confused, but better is to first go with the Intune management extension log and then rest of the logs to claim that yes, application deployment is success or not. Okay. So talk about this Intune management extension.log. That is first. That is what they want to hear. And then if you are doing granular, if you want to break it down, then tell like agent executor, app workload is the 2 logs which I'll be taking, and then I'll go in the event viewers also to see, confirm that yes, everything is working or not. So Intune extension is having this path, like C program of data, Microsoft Intune management extension, and then logs. You'll see all logs here. Okay. How do you assign an application end-to-end flow? Okay. So assignment would be first, I'll have that application created, whether it's a Windows 32, MSI or store. Then I will get this defined, whether it's going to be installed, uninstalled, what command it should take. Then I'll configure the detection logic. Then I'll assign this to Entra ID group. I will ensure that all the devices are synced in this group. Then I will have the IME installed applications. So I'll check whether the application is installed or not, and then detection to check whether it succeeded or not. So assignment is done in Entra ID group, and the detection rules confirm that installation is successful. So this is an end-to-end flow that you can tell. Then it says, what is MAM? So mobile application management. I have already covered 4 hours session on MAM. So MAM mainly to secure your corporate data inside applications without managing the device. It is as good like you are not enrolling the device, but you are only setting up some controls over the application level. So it is as good you have your phone, but your data is of your company. Okay, so you can have authority on your phone, you can still manage your phone, but the data, your data is of your company, so there is no way of compromising that data. So this is where MAM comes into the picture. Okay, so in 4-hour session, this is where the 4-hour session we have covered all about insights of MAM. In the masterclass we have talked about everything, how does this work. Okay, exactly, and this is very crucial, like insights of MAM or MAM without enrollment. These two things enterprises are looking forward. Okay, so you should be very much keen about learning this. Next is, what is data protection? So data protection is, in real time example, you have an office water bottle, you can drink but you cannot pour it outside. Okay, in the office you cannot pour that water bottle. So this is as good, you have your phone, you data is companies. So how you can prevent it? Data protection is more on to stop the leakage of information, right? So how you can prevent? You can prevent the copy and paste, you can prevent block saving that to your personal storage. So if I am receiving something in my Outlook and I just want to download that Excel file and save it somewhere, maybe that is having a transaction or that is of the billing of account, so I cannot do that, right? I can restrict the screenshots. If for example I have something on my screen, I just want to take a screenshot of the P&L of the company, I will not be able to do that. Encrypt application data. So if I have encryption is something, this is my Outlook application for example. Okay, and this is my WhatsApp. Okay, now I want to copy and paste. So technically this is my personal and this is my corporate application. Okay, so this should not allow me to copy or paste. So these options should be checked so that this connection will not be established, their data will not be copied over. Okay, so your answer would be, the data protection ensures that corporate data remains secure even it's on the personal devices. Okay, be very crisp, very clear and one liner, not talk much about it. Okay, be very short. How do you troubleshoot application failure? So first we'll check assignment, whether it's in correct group or not, whether the user or device is targeted in that group or not. Then I will do the force sync to check whether it's the device is synced or not. I will check the IME installed. First thing, you need to check the IME installed. Without that, okay, it will not get installed, application will keep on failing. Then you need to check the logs, Intune management.extension.log. that log will talk more about it. Then you check the detection. Majority of 90% there is a wrong detection due to which applications fails to install, and you scratch your head asking like what happened exactly. Then check the installed commands. Most of the time they are using silent switches. If not, then add it, and there should be a proper exit code. If exit code is different, then you will be having a hard time to find the application installation. So most failures are due to incorrect detection rules or installation commands. Okay, so this is you need to tell in the interviews. Now, what are the common traps? So this is, I have application which is showing installed, okay, but it's not visible. So why it's not visible? Because there is a detection rule incorrect. That is the first thing. Why ESP stuck? So most of the time when you're doing Windows Autopilot, your ESP page will be stuck because of this blocking app failed. So maybe ESP is something when just don't want to get into more. When you are setting up Windows Autopilot, okay, there is this called an ESP page. Okay, here there is option to block ESP for the applications. Means until I have VPN installed, okay, and until I have some antivirus, for example, installed, this ESP page will not move forward. Okay, so this is called block applications. So if those block applications are failing to install, then ESP page will stuck and it will go in the limbo. User will sit forever just looking at the ESP page, identifying like what will happen. He will wait for something and it will never go ahead because of this blocking app failed. So you need to be very sure about it, like whatever apps you are blocking, those should have a proper detection logic, proper exit codes and everything. Okay. And MSI versus EXE or Windows Win32, they will ask. So MSI is plain simple format, Win32 is more powerful, more granular, you have more options to configure in this during the packaging. Okay, so these are the interviews traps. Now come to security questions. Security questions, they will ask you what are MDM and MAM. So MDM and MAM is very much straightforward. MDM is where you manage the entire house in real life example, and MAM is you manage a particular locker inside that house. Okay, you're not managing entire house. So that is what MAM is. MAM, you talk about, like MDM is managing the entire device, while MAM only secures the corporate data within the applications. So what sort of data it could be? So for example, if I need to manage, so MDM will take over for the devices, MAM will take over the applications. If I need to control, so MDM will help me controlling the operating system, applications and security. MAM will only help with the application data. Enrollment point, we can have MDM required. Without MDM, enrollment will not. If MDM setting is not there in intra ID, if that is not enabled, you will not be having enrollment successful. And MAM is not required for the enrollment. Whether the device is enrolled or not doesn't matter, MAM will work. Okay, what would be the use cases? So MDM is more on the company devices, MAM is more on the BYOD. So MAM is purely looking for the application data security. Okay, they have nothing to do with the device, whatever device it is. If they are using company data, that should be secured. That is the fundamental priority of that. Explain conditional access policy. So conditional access policy is very much you understand, if you understand condition. Okay, if I have set conditions, so if these conditions are set, for example, I have these conditions. Okay, if I see this checkbox all check in green, then I will allow this person, I'll give the access. Simple conditional access. So like you're entering your office, your security guard will check your ID card, they will check your biometric, they will check your entry timing and dress code. Okay, if anything is mismatched, for example, your biometric is not working, okay, that's fine, we can get the exception. Your ID card is not there, if we can get the exception. Your dress code also we can get the exception. But what if there is something which is malfunction, someone is trying to tail pass, they are impersonating that they are you, but it's not you, then that is a security compromise. Okay, so that is where the conditional access policies comes into the picture. Okay, so you need to make this explanation very clear with your interviewer. If anything that is failing, access will be denied. It is as simple. So conditional access, we will have set some conditional for the users, devices, location, risk level, or we will set MFA, block access, or require compliant devices. So these controls we need to put as in condition. If those conditions are met, and those accordingly, that controls will be given. Okay, that is what the conditional policy is all about. So conditional policy ensures that there is a zero trust and validity identity is there, device health is checked, and there is no risk before granting the access. That is what the conditional policy. Okay, don't get confused in this. Okay, what type of licenses is required for MDM enrollment? So if you're coming from Intune background, you must be knowing that please allow people if someone is trying to connect. Okay, because I don't see that screen, so please allow it. First thing is, license wise, we need to have Microsoft Intune. Okay, if you are using just for your trial or just for the demonstration, if you are a corporate, definitely you will be using enterprise, EMS, E3 or E5, or if you're using E3 or E5, that is also working. And if you're using a business premium, means that is also supported. So most of the time, Intune or M365 license, if you have, then it will have the capability of enrollment devices with MDM. Okay, so most of the corporate world, we see EMS, E3 or E5 they are using. and through which we are able to enroll the devices in MDM. Okay. Next is my MDM enrollment keeps failing. What could be the issue? So first thing is layer understanding. What is not working out? What you may ask, like, what is failing means what is exactly happening? So he says like it's just giving me this error message or something like that. Okay, so then you can break it down. Okay, if user's license is not assigned, then if the license error is coming, means the license is not assigned. If enrollment limit or something issues are coming, which means the user already have exceeded. So by default there is a maximum limit is 15. Okay, and most of the company they are choosing either 5 or 6, okay, limit. So if they are increased 6 or this 7, they will not be able to enroll further more devices. So we need to check this enrollment limit. Then conditional access, check whether the conditional access is blocking or not. What about the network, whether it's like using the firewall or any proxy where the enrollment is not happening. What if the device is already enrolled? So it will of course give the failure message. So in that case we need to go to Entra ID. From there we need to go to devices, and from devices select that device, okay, and retire or just simply delete. Okay, and then after some time tell that person, or if you're doing IT or user, tell to uninstall company portal. Okay, then reinstall it again and then try enrollment, and it will work certainly if the user is having the license. Okay, so this is the troubleshooting, plain troubleshooting. So first thing, in the technical check, we'll check the license, we'll check the MDM scope. In the enterprise in Entra ID mobility, we will go check whether MDM and MM both are selected and it's applicable to all. It's not just, it should not be none or selected, because if you're choosing none means it will not be allowing anyone to enroll the device in the tenant. Second, if it's selected means it's particular some of the group of people who are added or devices who are added in that, they will be able to enroll the device. If it's set to all, which means it is enabling everyone whosoever belongs to, they can easily enroll the device. What is the device limit? Check that. Conditional access, check that. Okay, network, also check if there is any port which is not open, or if there is any proxy which is blocking the Microsoft endpoints, so you can also have a look. Some of the logs which you can refer, which is device management enterprise diagnostic provider, which you can have a look in an event viewer. MDM diagram report that you can produce, and you can check what is exactly the problem with the enrollment. So MDM enrollment failures are usually caused by the licensing, conditional access, or misconfiguration, or enrollment restrictions. So these things you can fairly tell to your interviewer that this is something that I presume it could be a problem, and I should be digging it up further to understand what is the root cause. Okay, next come to Entra ID. Entra ID, they will ask what is Entra Connect. If you have not set up anything in your in the office, do check it or test it on your lab and see if you can set it up and see how the configuration works. Okay, so Entra Connect is more of saving, like if you save any contact on your mobile, it automatically syncs to your cloud, and the same you can see in your laptop as well. Okay, which means you don't need to re-enter that information and again. Same thing happens with Entra Connect. So Entra Connect is a solution which is given by Microsoft. So this is your on-prem and this is your cloud. All right, so I have a user, for example, his name is U1 and his password is P1. Okay, so he's already here. Now what if he is using a laptop, okay, which is already connected to domain, but when he's trying to connect to on cloud, he will have something different username or different password. Okay, to so resolve this particular issue, there is something called Entra Connect. Okay, that came into the picture. What they did, they resolved this problem. They did the replication. Okay, so whatever user is having username and password, the same thing is now replicated through this Entra Connect in the cloud domain also. So this is how the synchronization happened, and one object got copied to another. So without hassle, that user who's logged in here with LAN can also log in to this cloud without, like, at his home or in the remote location. So what it syncs first, it syncs the users, then it syncs the groups, then it syncs password hashes. So password hashes is something, if you are aware about PTA, I'll be talking more on this in the next slide. PHS, so that also gets synchronized, which means the same password which he is using on on-prem, the same will work on cloud as well. And device objects, so whatever device he's having here, okay, for example, the same device information will also be available in this cloud as well. Okay, that is what the Entra Connect. So plain answer would be that Entra Connect is used to synchronize on-prem AD identities with Entra ID for hybrid identity. Okay. Now, what is PTA? Okay, at the end, just to sum up here, I mean, it's not concluded. Just to add up here, at the end of the slide or end of the session, I have something as a pro tip to give you guys so you can crack your interviews easily. And if anyone is wanting something, one-to-one conversation, or you want some additional information from you, you are there. You can feel free to connect me over my number. I'll give it to you. Don't hesitate on anything about any interviews questions. Okay, if you have anything different, please feel free to connect with me. I'll explain you why this is and what you're supposed to answer in that. Okay, now what is PTA? PTA stands for pass-through authentication. So it is as good like you have a security guard, okay, and that security guard will confirm your identity, then they will allow you entry, and password is never stored at gate. Means you never give this password. So what exactly PTA is all about? This is my on-prem and this is my cloud. All right, so I have this username and this password, okay, for this person who's already checked in, who's already using on-prem. Now through Entra Connect, we have already connected these environments. Right now, user 1 will be used here, but password will be coming down from here and then it will be used. Okay, and this password will never be stored in the cloud. It will always remain here on your on-prem. Okay, that is called pass-through authentication. Pass-through authentication means your Active Directory will always have a precedence. They will always have authority to do not share that password over the cloud. Okay, all the time this password will be only checked from on-prem AD. Okay, it will never be stored in cloud. That is what the PTA stands for. So with PTA, user will enter the password in the cloud and this Entra ID sends it to on-prem AD. So when the user is entering the password, this password will be go and checked at on-prem and it will validate. So who will validate? Active Directory will validate whether this password is correct or not. If it's correct, then this password will be accessed and this user will be given access to the cloud applications, right? So no password will be stored in the cloud. It's very straightforward. There is nothing that is getting saved. So if they ask, like in PTA, I feel that the password will be saved on the cloud, right? It's very I cannot compromise on the security. So tell them that PTA does not mean that it saved the password. It is a pass-through authentication, means it will always communicate with AD, validate, cross-check, and then it will pass it on to cloud. But cloud never we have a flexibility to save this password. Okay. So PTA validates user passwords directly against on-prem AD in real time, right? What is difference in PTA and PHS? So it is pretty much straightforward. Password in the cloud, if you are doing, then PHS, where it will have the hashed copy. It's not even the right password. If I say this is my password, so with hashed, how it will show it it will show something like this. And when it's converted with SHA-256 algorithm, it will something very long digit, like it will start from here. There will be multiple passwords for the same will be hashed here. So you will have no idea what it is all about. It will be something like 100-digit or 50-digit number. Okay, so it will be hard to decode what is the password exactly. So that is what the hashed copy. And PTA, since password is in cloud, so it will not be stored in PTA, means on-prem your AD. If there is an on-prem dependency, of course PHS is very low and PTA is high. Why? Because it is going to check on the DC, and the password is always saved in your DC or AD on your domain server. Availability. So PHS is always available. Why? This is in the cloud. Okay. Medium is something, it might be that your server is down or your AD is not pingable or something like that. Maybe device is not on the direct line of sight. At that point of time, VPN is down. The PTA will not work. Okay, it will be hard time to authenticate, and sometimes you see there is a global outage because of AD is down, or DC is not working, it's passed, it's got corrupted, or maybe there is some fault tolerance, something happened. So that is what. And complexity. So PHS is very simple and PTA is complex. Why? Because PTA have a on-prem AD which having lots of firewall and other complexity added rule. So due to which it is more secure. Alright, so answer would be PHS offers better availability while PTA provides real-time authentication against on-prem AD. Okay. Now, this question was recently asked from one of the tech giant, okay, a Fortune 500 company. They said, like, I have a scenario here. I am seeing that there is a 30-minute of delay in the intra sync by default from the Microsoft. So, but I have something that I want to forcefully do on my intra connect. So how can I achieve that? So I told them, like, what you can do best, you can have a script, okay, and you can run this delta sync, okay, and this delta sync will force that delay to cover up within a second. So you can also do it manually. If you want to get this automated, you can use PowerShell to automate this and get this download, though it's not recommended, okay, but you can also achieve this by default. So he was very very much surprised to see that, okay, this is what we can also do. He was not aware about it, but this was a solution for his long term problem, and that's why he's overwhelmed. He applauded a lot and he said, like, okay, I want someone who gave me solution like this. Okay, so this is by default Microsoft has designed to give 30 minutes of delay in the sync. Okay, but if you have something urgent updates, if you want to trigger, you can go with the delta sync manually, and that will sync all your objects from your on-prem to your cloud. Okay, then in the memory form, just thought of adding this. First, intra connect is more of talking about the sync. Okay, nothing more than that. Intra connect doesn't do much on that. PTA is more on the live check. Okay, PHS is more on the stored hash, and by default the design is for 30 minutes. So they will ask, like, intra connect, what is the default timing for the hardware or for the synchronization? So tell, like, so 30 minutes. Okay, not more, not less. It's plain 30 minutes. Okay, so intra connect enables hybrid identity, PTA validates live checks, and PHS prioritize availability. So this is how this is what we have also covered in in our intra connect setup when we are doing it. So when you installing this component, you are also choosing this particular, like, a specific custom installation, whatever you know when you're doing the customization, what things do you check in express settings, requirement components, all this you need to be validated and doing it. So this was also covered in masterclass. And now come to the hot topic, which is called cloud management gateway. This is more on used for internet based clients, or you don't want to have any dependency on the SCCM DPs. Okay, what is CMG? So CMG in real life example, if you say you have a LAN connection which is internal, uh, entry gate, okay, and there is another external reception desk for visitors, right? So employees won't go outside, but they will enter to the internal entry gate only, okay, but the others who are trying, they will go and, for the talking, they will go to reception desk and they will ask what is happening. Okay, CMG is, again, it's like a cloud reception desk, right? It is a normal scenario, in real time scenario. This is a reception desk where devices need to go and talk. So CMG is more of a cloud-based management point hosted in Azure. Okay, so it will allow internet-based clients to manage SCCM without VPN. Okay, what it can support. So if you are pushing, if you don't have any DP, or you don't want to have any dependency on devices which are not on the LAN, so through this CMG you can push the policies, you can do the app deployment, you can do the inventory check, you can push the updates. Okay, everything we can do cloud management. This is a paid service. Okay, so if anyone is asking, I want to set up CMG, first tell them, sir, this is a paid service. Second thing is, this is applicable when you don't have any this is more on for the internet based clients, people who are working remote, who cannot connect to the LAN possibly, or they're using VPN. At that point of time, if you need to send updates or application deployment using this CMG, we can achieve this. Okay, so what would be the best answer? So CMG enables SCCM to manage internet based devices securely. Security is prime concern because SCCM is more on the on-prem domain, and it is more robust when it gets the Entra Connect or Azure Connect, but it requires a VPN so that it can establish a secure connection with CMG and can do the data transfer. Okay, how do you set CMG, which is a high level architect style? How you do that? So CMG is, first of all, we need to, anything which you are talking about, first talk about the prereq. Okay, without that, do not say that I will install this. No, first talk about the prereq. What would be the prereq? So SCCM 2006 plus versions, we will have this CMG enabled. We require a Azure subscription. We require a public certificate. Most of or majority of the time CMG fails. This is also a question. Okay, let me cover in the next slide. Public certificate is required. Azure AD integration is required. Second, we will be having a Azure setup where we will be registering Azure AD application. We'll create a CMG. So we are going to cover this entire step in our SCCM course where we are going to set the CMG, and we'll talk about more on this. Then we will be having a VM scale set created automatically. SCCM configuration, we will configure CMG connection point. We will upload the certificate. We will have HTTPS and token authentication enabled so that SCCM can use this CMG. Then on the client configuration, we will enable internet client settings under the client setting. Then we will set the some boundary groups association, and we'll have the content from Cloud DP. So this is what the setup we are going to do. So CMG setup most involve the Azure integration, certificate configuration, CMG service creation, and client policy enabled. Okay, what is the benefit of having CMG? So CMG is more benefit is what you do not require any VPN. Okay, first of all, then you have a security because it is more on the HTTPS. We have a certificate and it's more on the Entra Connect or Entra ID. So it is more secure, and it's of course it's scalable. If I have a much workload on the CMG, it can scale automatically. If I have less applications or workload, it can auto scale. Cost effective, it is pay as you go and as you use. So if you're not using it, you're not paying anything extra. So CMG means you don't have any office dependencies. If you're working from home, you're at coffee shop, you're at airport, wherever you are, you can easily get the content directly from the CMG. So CMG is more on the modern side of the SCCM, where we do not set or have dependency on the distribution points, but we can directly extend this securely for the internet based devices. We can get this configured. Okay, how do you troubleshoot if the CMG fails? This is a big question. Okay, so if you know about the CMG, if you have worked on it, you will better understand about it. Otherwise, you can think like, if just to plain an answer, just tell like, first we will assess the impact, then we will isolate Azure, okay, whether everything is working on that or not, then we will come to SCCM, then we will come to client layer. So this is a 4-step: check the impact, isolate it Azure, SCCM, and then client layer. So first you check, go to Azure portal and look at the CMG resource, whether it's working fine or not. Then look at the services running or not. Look at the VM scale set, whether it's healthy or not. Look for the SCCM log. So CMG service.log that you can refer, cloud MGR that you can refer, and there is SMS cloud proxy connector.log. So this will help you to identify whether the connection is established properly or not, and how is thing working. Okay, what things do you check? So as CMG service, you will look for the certificate, if the certificate issues or what. Cloud MGR, look for the authentication failures. Okay, SMS cloud proxy, look at the connectivity. Okay, how the connectivity is, if there is any failing thing or not. Certificate validation, so CMG server authenticate cert, this should be there, this should not be expired. Client authentication cert should not be expired, and Azure AD app secret expiry, so this should not be expired. So whenever you are setting up any application in Azure AD, you are giving expiry date or time. If that is expired, means your CMG will fail. So what best you can do, I mean, tell that 90%, I would say, not 99%, but 90% of the failure rate is because of the certificate in the CMG, which I know it. Okay, so this you can check and validate whether the certificate is causing a problem or not. And most of the time, like, we fix this by updating the new certificate. It works fine. Then you can go to client side SCCM logs. You can look at the client location.log. You can look at the location services.log. So these two logs will talk about whether the client is attempting to connect to CMG or not, whether the HTTPS was successful, means the connection was established, and was it successful or not. Okay, that you can check. And temporary mitigation, what you can do, you always like, they will say, what if the CMG fails? So first tell, I will have a fallback plan right there. Okay, in that we will have a VPN setup, and that will be enabling so that all those internet based clients can connect to this VPN and can get the data. Then we will shift the workloads to Intune. Okay, and then we'll pause the deployments if there is any deployments which is running. So always think like how you can secure or make a less impact in the environment. If there is anything burning, think like how you can stop that big mess. Okay, how you can pour the water, how you can stop that flame to burn out and take it on a infinite level. So always think to create something fallback or something, a backup plans to resolve that immediate problem. Okay, so answer is, I will isolate the falling layer, mitigate user impact, and then I'll fix the root cause and implement preventive monitoring. First of all, my responsibility is to make the business as usual, make everything is running as usual. Later on I can fix the root cause, later on I can identify what was the impact and how was the impact and how we can resolve that. Okay, next follow-up question they may ask, like, is CMG mandatory? So of course CMG is not mandatory, it's critical for remote workforce only. It is nothing to do that you need to have CMG all the time. Okay, can we have multiple CMGs? Yes, if you have a global residency and you require CMG for multiple locations, like you are established in all geo locations, of course you can have CMGs all the places. Okay, co-management is the next topic. What is co-management and how it is used? So co-management is, of course, in simpler way, I would say there are two managers, one employee. One manager is your office manager who is looking at your daily work. Second manager is your HR manager, who's more on looking at your rules and compliance, whether your learning goals are met or not, whether you have applied leaves properly or not, whether all sort of things they will, your engagement is with this course and that in that session. All this are checked by HR manager. Your office manager is particular about your work. What about your tickets? What about your daily checks? What about your follow-up? What about your email sent to the client? Whether your deck is prepared or not? All sort of things that manager takes care. So two people who are handling actually one employee, but they have their own set of rules, or they have their certain criteria, or they have certain limits. Okay, so two people juggling around, but those two people who's talking about one employee, but they have different perspective and different way of handling. Okay, so now each manager will handle their own area. It is not like your official manager will start worrying about your compliances and all. Okay, he will never think like that. He is only particular about your job role. So technical meaning, co-management will allow SCCM and Intune to manage the same Windows devices, but in a different workloads, right? So answer would be co-management is enabling organizations to transition from SCCM to Intune. Use this word transition, okay, from SCCM to Intune without disrupting existing management. Okay, so there will not be any disruption at all. Okay, when do we require co-management? Real life example, like you have an old house, but still you have some furnitures, and you have a new house where you haven't fully ready to dwell, or fully ready to shift. So you will stay in both the condition. You will be temporarily available both the site, at your old house also, new house also. When co-management is needed, when you have existing SCCM environment, you want to move everything to cloud gradually. Now, like what I have seen, majority of the companies, they're still on SCCM and they want a movement gradually from SCCM to cloud. And majority of the companies who are having a multiple domain controllers, they have multiple they have migrations, multiple companies, they so I'm talking about the big enterprises. So there are lots of M&A which is happening, and they are acquiring. Majority of the companies, they are on the old legacy or on the old environments. So doing the Intune POC is really tough, and they want expert in this. They don't want an expert in both the world. They want expert of SCCM, they also expert of Intune. So whenever you are quoting or you are answering anything, you should not be talking less about any technology. If you are particular, if you know about that, how SCCM CMG works, how you can set up, only then you talk about it. Otherwise, tell I'm not expert in the CMG, but I know better how to migrate these to Intune, so I can help you in that. Okay, so in that sense, they know that I can trust on this people for only Intune, but CMG I need to talk to someone else. So that way, don't think like you can be expert in everything. It's never possible, even though the clients are also not expert in everything. That's why they are seeking your help. Okay, so remote workspace workforce when you need it, and you avoid big bang migration. Okay, so it will take time, it will be a phased migration, and co-management is required when organization want a controlled phased migration. So here the word called phased, okay, is important, and in the previous one we talked about gradual approach. Okay, so these words, if you use, it will create some impact. Okay, what is cloud attach? So if you are aware about co-management, so first syncing your laptop, we talked about like this example, you have a laptop and you sync it to cloud, so you can see all your files then here and there. That is what the cloud attach. So cloud attach means you are telling SCCM that this is the tenant where you need to talk, and this is where you need to put all the devices. So cloud attach will connect SCCM to Intune, Entra ID, and Endpoint Analytics. It will enable through the tenant attach when you're doing co-management and when you have a cloud insight. only that case this cloud attach will come into the picture. So cloud attach is more on linking on-premise SCCM with Microsoft Cloud Services for hybrid management. Okay, this is for hybrid management. Always remember. So cloud attach will come into the picture. This is a part of co-management, and co-management comes when you have on-prem devices. Okay, this is how it would look like something. I just taken a capture. This is also we have completed in 2 hour session. This is the cloud attach when we are doing this cloud co-management. So this is when you go to this is where you go to SCCM administration under the cloud services. This is where you go and look cloud attach, or you can also configure this from here. And this is says cloud attach, and this is the sign in. Okay, in this sign in you need to put your tenant ID. Okay, and then you can click on next. This is more on the 4 clicks. Okay, first you sign in, next summary, and then summary, and that's it. So the co-management takes nothing more than 4 clicks. So this is what you can do and set up in your environment. So this is what the cloud attach is. Just thought of taking a snip of it. Okay, what are the workloads? So there are total 7 workloads which are there in your SCCM. Okay, and these 7 workloads can be shifted to Intune. Okay, this is in SCCM right now, which is your on-prem solution, and you're shifting this to cloud. So what you can shift: compliance policy. What is the purpose of compliance policy? To have the device health check. Okay, whether the device is having the latest OS version or not, whether the device is having the latest firmware or not, whether the device is having TPM chip or not, all sort of things we can have a look. Resource access, when we require a VPN or Wi-Fi, then we require this workload. Windows update is more on when you're doing a patch management. Okay, so patch management you require to shift it to Intune, so like devices can directly connect to cloud and download those patches from the Microsoft catalog server. That is when we require this. Endpoint protection, majority of the time when you're using Defender, then you will use it. Okay, device configuration is more on when you're setting up some configuration policies and you want this configuration policies from your Intune, you can use this workload. Client applications, when you're requiring some client applications or LOB or line of business application or any custom scripts, that time you require this. Office click to run is more of when you're using Microsoft 365 applications. So these are the 7 workloads, and these 7 workloads have different numbers associated with this, right? Different numbers means I'm talking about the bits number. There are bits which are associated with this, and these bits decides whether the workload is properly shifted or not. So if you are more keen on the workloads, so you can definitely look at the logs. Okay, and you can check whether the shift bits of these workloads are properly configured or not. I just give you the basic idea of workloads and all. I mean, I just don't want to drag this a lot, but just to give you a heads up, this is something we can talk about it. I mean, I'll take it next session, in that we'll talk about more on the bits and all. Otherwise it will take much time. So workloads define which authority of SCCM or Intune will manage, and there will not be any cross of each other functions. Like if SCCM is more on looking for Windows updates, so Intune will not take over this. Okay, it will only be taken care by SCCM, right? So always think like they will ask this question, what if we shift workloads? So what if like I have a compliance policy, I just wanted to shift this to my SCCM, so how will this work? So like in Intune, so once it's shifted to Intune, for example, what I'm trying to say, just this is currently shifted to SCCM, right? If I shift this to Intune, will this compliance policy still be managed by SCCM or not? Okay, so it's plain no. Why? Because once SCCM shifted any workload, okay, and Intune started managing that, so SCCM will give up or will stop managing this as an authority. Okay, only Intune will manage and take precedence. If your interviewers is giving you this, like, what if I shift this compliance policy and window client apps to Intune, will I still be able to push any applications from SCCM on those devices? What will happen if I push it? Will this work? So of course it will not work. Okay, because the authority, they decide that's why there is no conflict. If you choose one authority to do one thing, the second one will not come. And in workloads there is an option called pilot. Okay, so I have 10 devices, out of which I'm choosing only 2 devices in this pilot. So only these two devices will be responsible to be managed by Intune. The rest 8 devices will still be SCCM. Okay, so make very clear with this, right? They will ask you, how would you shift this workloads? So recommended order according to me, first go with the security. So first talk about the compliances, endpoint security, then go with resource access. Okay, if you want to set some VPNs or something, then you go with Windows update, and then last go with applications. Okay, so these 2 applications will be lost, and this is something I'm talking about, LOB applications. So first security, and from security go to resources and Windows update. Then this should be the order. Don't make it like I will go first Windows updates, then I will go with endpoint protection, then I'll go with application, then I'll go with compliance. No, that will create a mess. Okay, so first we will take low risk shifting the workloads, which will give us high value. When I set compliance policies, I can ensure that yes, compliances are working fine. I was talking about something, I just thought of sharing this compliance policy. So all these having a bits data assigned to it. Okay, so if you go with co management handler .log, so you will see the default value is coming as 8193. Okay, and this is coming from 21 I think 1, sorry, my bad. From this version, this has started coming, they changed the bits value. Okay, so compliance they have given 2. For device configuration they have given a value of 8. Endpoint, if you are using, then it's gonna be a value of 4128. For resources, I don't see there is any value, but for the client applications there is a value of 64. And office click to run, this also having a value of 128. Okay, and Windows update last, this is having a value of 16. Okay, and there is one more thing is the total value. If you count for this one, it will come something like 12541. I think this is the number that should come. So this is how the workloads defined. So when you go to co-management handler.log, this is where you see the values, like which value is showing. That is how you can ascertain that okay, this is what the workload is currently set for this particular device. Okay, so this is the workload, we talked about it. So we move security workloads first to improve visibility with minimal operational risk. So if you set compliance policies and endpoint protection policies, it will not impact anything on the user side. Okay, users will have the seamless experience until you push the button for Windows update or applications. Okay, rest of the things will have similar situation. So if we, this was the question, I think I added it. If we shift applications and Windows updates to Intune, can SCCM still push them? The answer would be no. Okay, why? Because a workload can be managed by only one authority at a time. There will not be two authorities managing the same workload. So that is how the conflicts will not be arised. Okay, example, if I say I'm moving applications to Intune and Windows updates to Intune, then SCCM cannot deploy applications or updates to those devices. Okay, so once workload is shifted to Intune, SCCM loses the authority for that workload. Always be clear with this answer. Once you shifted the workload, Intune will SCCM will lose that authority and they will not be able to manage it. Okay, when are the workloads managed by both authorities? What is the answer? Never. So explanation wise, if you say co-management is more on enforcing the single authority per workload. Okay, pilot collection is temporarily, we are just testing it out whether it's working or not, but per device per workload is one owner only. It's not like I have two devices, one workload and two different owners. No, one device, one workload, one owner. That is how it works with co-management. So workloads are never managed by both SCCM and Intune simultaneously for the same device. Keep remember this when you're answering. Okay. Okay. So where do you check workload status? You can go to co-management handler.log. This is where you see what is happening, what workload has, if workload is misconfigured, you can check the policy conflict, you can see the unpredictable behavior, okay, in the devices. So that is how you can go ahead and take a look. Next is Apple Business Manager questions. So now this is very common because Intune also manages macOS. So they will ask, what is ABM? Why do you use Apple Business Manager? So Apple Business Manager is like a company bus. Okay, so this is your company bus, right? And who will it allow to? You think in this way, if I have an ID card, okay, I will be allowed to get inside, right, in the company. If I'm not employee, I will not be able to sit in the company bus, and company is actually owning this bus, right? So this is how ABM works. So ABM does the same for the Apple devices. Apple devices is what is your company employees, right? So technically what ABM is doing, ABM is registering the Apple devices as in corporate owned devices. It is enabling through the automated device enrollment. This is a short form called ADE, okay, and then it links Apple devices to Intune. Now this is my device, okay, and this is my Intune, okay, but Intune cannot talk until we have some one which is called APN, okay, which is into this which is called a service. Okay, so now this device is managed by ABM. Okay, so ABM and APN both are the same from the Apple services. Okay, so Intune do not know anything about this device until this APN, which is Apple push notification, passes this information to this cloud. Okay, understood? So this is the technical region of ABM, and Apple Business Manager ensures that there is a corporate ownership and zero touch enrollment. So they will ask this question, what if ABM is there, then why we need Intune? Okay, this is a very fair question and anyone can get confused. Of course, why we need two people? So in real time example, if you say you cannot enter a private apartment without the security gate pass, so ABM is actually that gate pass. If you are living in a society, each wing having a one gatekeeper or gate person who checks whether you are the right persons to enter into the premises or not. Okay, that is what the ABM is. Since ABM belongs to Apple devices, so ABM having a full authority to check whether you are the right person or not. So Intune cannot control Apple devices alone, but Intune what will do, it will only push the policy, but that should be authorized by the Apple itself. So Apple will enforce rules like you should be having this and that, like what you can read, what you cannot read. It is Apple who's deciding. It is not that Intune. And ABM having that configuration settings, that ABM will set that corporate device in such a way that only few of the things which will be exposed and that will be publicly available to other MDM solutions. Okay, so that is what the difference. So why ABM is mandatory? So automated enrollments Intune cannot perform. Okay, we cannot supervise anything from Intune. We cannot have a device ownership end-to-end from Intune itself. We cannot have zero touch setup from ABM Intune. So that's why if you connect both together, we can have this all checked. Okay, so that is why ABM is mandatory. So this is a question, interview question. I'm just sharing this with you guys. ABM is mandatory to unlock enterprise level Apple device management, which Intune or any MDM solution, whether it's Titanium, whether it's Workplace or AirWatch, whatever, no MDM solution can do this. Why is APNS required? So real example, you have a WhatsApp. WhatsApp is giving you some sort of firmware update or maybe application update. So it cannot check in phone every second. What it will check, Apple push notification will check updates from that application. If WhatsApp says that yes, I have recent updates, then Apple push notification will apply that logic and it will send that device to wake up signals and tell that this policy is there. It will trigger that policy and application sync. It will tell this is the new update that has come. You must be having this, and then all the Apple devices will get that. Without APNS, there will not be any management. So APNS is a wall in between Apple devices and Intune, and this APNS is facilitating the communication in between two. If the communication is broke, it will not, or APNS is broke, or maybe APNS certificate is expired, it will now not allow. So you will not have like, this is your device, okay, and this is your cloud services, and if APNS is expired, the certificate is expired, you will stop losing, you will lose the capability of managing these Apple devices from Intune. Okay, so always remember this APNS certificate, like it gives you only one, I think 12 months, 1 year of subscription. After that you need to have this renewed. Okay, how do we manage Mac OS? So Mac OS is a separate topic. It's a big mess. We cannot cover that in one shot, but as per my experience, I have covered whatever the layer of information that you are required. So first of all, we require an ABM. Okay, through automated enrollment process, we need to enroll that Mac. That should be user driven enrollment. Then we will configure. So we will have device profiles, we will have compliance policies, file vault inscription. All this we can configure for that device, Mac OS. Then we will push the applications which will go in PKG application or DMG applications, whatever the extension or whatever application type you're using, and Microsoft application you can push on that. Then later on we can have a security. So we can have a defender for macOS, we can have a firewall, we can have a gatekeeper, conditional access, all sort of things we can have. So ABM will have a full ownership, APNS will be setting a communication, Intune will control, and Mac OS where we will have managed policies and profiles. Okay, this is how the flow should look like. Okay, so answer would be Mac OS is managed via Intune using ABM enrollment and configuration policies, security policies, and app deployments. If they says if I don't have ABM, will I still be able to manage Mac OS? No, it's not possible. I mean, first of all, ABM is required to enroll that device, and because Mac OS is an application as a product of Apple, so there should be some mechanism through which we can control that device end to end. Okay, later on top of it, we can have Intune to push the configuration profiles, policies, and other stuff. Okay, common follow-ups would be, can we manage iOS, Mac OS without ABM? So this question says yes, but which will have a limited control. We will not have any supervision what is happening on that. So it is not recommended in enterprises. Okay, if though its answer says yes, but it's not recommended. You should have ABM. What happens if APNs expire? So all Apple device managements will stop receiving the communication. Okay. Next is endpoint security and analytics, which is EDR. So what is EDR? EDR is more of, in real world, think like it's a CCTV plus security guard working together. Okay. You have antivirus installed, which is to lock on the door. Then EDR, which means that you have a CCTV plus guard watching what happens after the entry. So means EDR is a solution together which will detect the behavior of the device. If there is any threat which is uh, trying to malfunction, it will then and there to stop. It will flag with the error. It will flag with the responses, trigger the alerts like this device is now malfunctioned. Okay. So technical definition, if you say EDR is more of continuously monitoring endpoint activities, detecting the suspicious behavior, enabling investigation and responses. That is what EDR, and this is more of coming from the Microsoft Defender for endpoint where EDR is already there. So EDR provides you real-time detection, investigation and response to endpoint threats. So don't get confused with EDR and Microsoft Defender. So these terms, technically these terms are there. Okay, next, what are the scores and how do you achieve higher scores, higher security? So if you are coming from a cricket background, you know that cricket having a secure, any game having a secure board, but cricket is more often played in India, so we talk about more scores. Says like how well you are playing. Okay, if you are playing with low score, means you are a risky play. We cannot allow you to go and disrupt the game or make us lose the game. Higher scores means you are very controlled, you are disciplined, and you like Virat Kohli or Sachin Tendulkar, right? So which means that yes, we are looking for the higher score where we see the security is more in the disciplined manner. So secure score means we can measure security posture. We have something enabled, like we have proper based protections there. Exposure score is something where we have a risky level, we have vulnerabilities. Okay, that's how the two scores are defined, right? So what if it says how to achieve higher security scores? So first of all, we will enable Defender, okay, antivirus. That is the first priority, which is on high impact. Then we'll turn on ASR rules, which is again set the score to the higher level. We'll enforce BitLocker for the higher security. We will enforce patch operating system and applications. And one more thing is here, application wise, I'm also saying, for example, I have a 7-zip. Okay, 7-zip I'm running on 1.1 version. Okay, and we have in the market, for example, 9 version. Okay, so this will give me a score of 9 or 8, depend. Says that this requires attention. We need to have this updated as soon as possible. So we need to uninstall and update it to the latest version. That's how we see that security working behind the scene. So it should tell, like in the Defender, which application is vulnerable and needs to be updated to the latest version. Okay, so security score improves by reducing attack surface and enforcing layered control. Okay, how do you run analytics in Endpoint Defender or security? So analytics, like what is analytics exactly? So analytics is more on looking for the performance, reliability and health status of the device. Okay, EDR is more of looking at the events, detects the threats and investigate the incident. So EDR is most depends upon the responses, endpoint responses, and analytics is more of, it is like a device. Okay, this is my device, and endpoint analytics, like I can see what is the OS, what is the hardware level, how is the RAM. Okay, how is other physical stuff like TPM and all. Okay, I can check in that analytics. But EDR is something, for example, something malfunction happened. Okay, something which is triggering alarm. So EDR is there that will trigger alert. Okay, so that is what the EDR is all stand to. Okay, next is what would be the answer. So just real life example, you have a doctor, you are going and reviewing that report, he is identifying what is the risk and he suggested the treatment. That is what the EDR is for, nothing more than that. Okay, so EDR provides you real-time detection, investigation and response to the endpoint threats. Okay, what tools can we use? So endpoint analytics we can use for the device health. Okay, look at what is the device healthy or not and what could be the reason. Advanced hunting is more of looking for the threat investigation. If there is any new malware or any Trojan that has come, so you can better do the advanced hunting on that. Defender plus dashboard, so it is more on the alerts and incident types. It will give you if there is any alerts or incident that has raised from the Microsoft, you can better check it in Defender dashboard. So EDR is more of detect and response. Okay, score is more of looking at the posture. Analytics is more about the visibility, how your environment is working right now. Okay, so analytics more on the performed in endpoint analytics. Defender is more on to monitor health and security posture. Common questions: is ADR same as antivirus? So most of the people gets confused. It is not. Okay, antivirus is more on the signature based. Okay, if the signature is not updated, means your antivirus or your database of antivirus is old, and it is very critical that it get impacted by the recent Trojan or viruses. EDR is more on the behavior based. What if that device gets compromised with the security? It may throw an alert, and with the, like we see, as soon the virus attacks happens, there are multiple pop-ups are coming, there are multiple windows are started opening up. So that is a behavior response. That is where the EDR comes into the picture. It starts giving you the behavioral approach, like what is happening with this, and that is how you can choose the metrics and you can perform the right approach and stop, as in security, you can stop those nonsense things to happen. Okay, does higher score mean zero risk? No, but it's a lower risk. Okay, it is never like, okay, I have a very good score, so I should not be worried about it. No, you have a lower risk, but still there is risk. Okay, so risk has ishq hai, not like that. We should be wary because it's enterprise level. If something is broke, it may damage the entire stuff. Okay, entire environment. All right, PowerShell interview questions. This is very common, and they expect you to at least be some equipped knowledge about PowerShell, and you should knowing something to script on. Okay, so what scripts have you developed in your environment? So what exactly they want? They're looking at what problem. They're not looking at the code. They're looking at what problem did you solve, at what scale, and what was the impact of it. Okay, so real time example, if I say I'm working in a factory and I have 100 machines, they are running manually, but I don't want to switch off each one of them manually, 100 times. I want something automation which we can press one button and we can go it. So what we can do, all these 100 machines which are connected to some other switches, we can connect it to one line, and we can have a one switch for that one line, and we can directly switch off that button and we can have those 100 machines stopped right there and there. That is what they are looking forward. So practical script, these scripts you can talk about when you are appearing for interviews, okay, which is very common, and they get flabbergasted when you talk about it. So you can tell device health checks. Okay, so I created a script for BitLocker status, I created a script for Defender onboarding, I created a script for disk space monitoring. Okay, from Intune I created bulk device cleanup. Like bulk device means devices are not checked in, for example, more than 90 days. So I have created a script, so these stale entries can be directly deleted from Intune. Okay, that is what automation I have performed. Autopilot device import, I have performed a script, and compliance reporting, I have performed a script. Okay, from SCCM I have created a collection. So in SCCM class I will give you some scripts through which you can create collections by for users or devices. You can do the application validation, you can do the client health remediation. So in SCCM this client health remediation is very challenging. Okay, so we should be having something when you talk about this client health remediation, because every company is looking for the patch compliance report. They are at least looking for something like 98-99% off, and it's unachievable, but there are certain ways that we can do to remediate, and we can get that number through the automation. So what should be your answer? Like, I used PowerShell to automate repetitive tasks such as device health checks, Intune reporting, and SCCM client remediation. Okay, so this is what you can tell them like this is what the script I worked on, these are type of script which I have performed. Okay, what are the CMD lets? This is very common thing. So CMD lets is nothing but it's just a verb called. It is simply like we have small commands which are packaged together, and right, we can see the example like get process, set item, remove devices. These are the CMD lets. So CMD lets are the lightweight PowerShell commands which is designed to perform specific action. Okay, if I need to remove device, so I can definitely use CMD lets as remove device, and then I can give the followed by the device name, and I can get this deleted. Okay, what automation did you bring into operation? Okay, so this is my example. This is purely what I have did in my organization or in my environment. This is what I have mentioned. I have reduced manual efforts, reduced human error, and improved the SLA. Okay, so what exactly did you bring into operation? That is the question. So in real automation example, you can talk about auto remediation, like you did a restart stuck services. Like there are a couple of script that you can perform, like in SCCM, if certain services which is not running, you can restart those by tweaking that certificate, maybe that script. You can fix Intune agent failures. You can re-trigger compliances. These things we can perform through the PowerShell. We can also perform, like if we want, your manager wants a daily compliance report, patch success dashboard, or license usage alert, we can do this from the automation. So these things which I have done, I have already mentioned here, like onboarding and offboarding, so user creation, device assignment, and app access removal. These things I have already created a PowerShell automation which I have implemented. So this is what I have done, but you can also take this example, you can share that. So they will not ask you like what code did you create and what did you do exactly. Simply tell them like this is the production, like we are using this for pilot, and it's all working fine. So we are gradually moving these scripts to our environment. Okay, so automation is shifted operations from reactive firefighting to proactive maintenance. Okay, which means like every now and then if I see the services are getting stopped, so I can simply put an automation, I can see those automatically getting started again. Okay, how do you secure scripts? So we can have a code signing. They will ask you this question definitely if you're talking about the PowerShell script. How you can secure your script? I can do a code signing, I can do a RBAC, and I can have a least privilege on this script, so no one can start just using it, but it should be privileged enough. Do you use Graph API? So yes, Graph API and PowerShell integration, both I have used for Intune automation. Okay, this is what you are supposed to do. So this is also covered in our class, master class in Intune. This is where we talked about how we can have Microsoft PowerShell and Graph API together working, and these are the CMD lets which we can perform, and we can run various scripts to complete and achieve our task. Okay, all right, there is some SCCM interview questions also. So one more thing is here they will ask, have you, like when you talked about this particular patch success dashboard, okay, they may ask like I am your manager, okay, or I am a client, okay, I want a particular report which you send me like before patch Tuesday or after patch Tuesday. You just send me this task report so I can have before and after. I can see like how was before and how was this after. If you need to send me this dashboard, how would you do that? Okay, so tell them that in Intune we have a Intune data warehouse, okay, through which we can connect to Power BI. We can create report, okay, and that report we can publish, okay, and we can share this we can share this to my client, okay, and through this publish link, okay, he will be able to see this particular dashboard. and this is applicable for your client, your manager, whosoever is requiring this customized report. You can create and you can send it to. So this Intune data warehouse, this is really like I would say they will be they will be impacted, and they will be overwhelmed with this response when you say that I know how to connect and get this Power BI, because Power BI is really a hot topic. Okay, if you're working as an architect, or even though you're working as L3, if you know Power BI, your job, and you can customize reports, you can prepare it in such a way and you can send it to them, it will be really marvelous achievement for you in your career. Okay, so these things just thought of sharing with you. All right, so SCCM interview questions. So how do you update SCCM console? This is the question. So SCCM console update is, again, it's very simple. We're talking about a UI update. Okay, it's as good you are having a WhatsApp in your phone and you just going to get the latest update, and you simply update the console. So here in technical term, with Intune, if you are using a primary site with current branch updated, so once the site is having recent update, so it will show in the console that there is a new version is available. You can click on and install that. Before that, you need to run some pre-check, which I'll be covering in SCCM class. You can show like how to get this new console updated, and once it's updated, then you need to update your clients as well. Okay, so SCCM console updates automatically happens after a site upgrade. Once your primary site is upgraded, it will automatically pull that version and it will show in your console. Once your console is updated, you can also force this to your clients to update to the latest version. Okay, so this is very important. They certainly ask, what are the prereqs for SCCM primary site? So prereqs is, like in the real world example, if you say SCCM primary site is something that you are setting up a corporate office. Okay, for that corporate office you require a land, you require a power, you require internet, you require a security. Same goes with SCCM primary site, nothing more than that. Okay, so first of all, you require a operating system. Okay, and that operating system should be a Windows Server operating system. That should be the supported version. So you can go to Microsoft and can check the latest supported version, whatever it is. Then you can have AD extended schema. So SCCM is having different sort of schema. Schema is nothing but it's just a boxes which having a different layer of information. So AD is by default is having, they have their own set of boxes available, but when you extend this, okay, when you extend this box, that is what called AD extension. Okay, schema extended. This is what. So here what you're doing, you are actually adding this box, you are actually magnifying this glass or box with extra information, so that configuration manager can put those data in these particular boxes separately. Okay, that is what schema extended. SQL is supported. SQL version should be there. You should have a stable network bandwidth. You should have a service accounts, proper service accounts, and certificates. Of course, if you are looking for some public key infrastructure, if you're looking for something which is optional, but if you're looking to safeguard your environment more with PKI, so then you need this SCCM primary site. So in PKI, you need to have this HTTPS setup and other stuff, certificate based authentication. That point of time you can use it. Okay, so you can check it. Now one more thing just to add it up here, everyone, earlier we used, I have seen, I was part of panel or interview panel from last 6 to 7 years, and I have interviewed so many people I have seen. So but just to give an example, CAS is not a mandatory. CAS is central administration site, which is not mandatory. So SCCM primary site is something like this. This is your CAS and this is your primary sites. Okay, so primary sites is required. CAS is just for the operational purposes. Okay, so cache is nothing. It's not important until you have like 150k devices in your environment. It's not required. But primary site can be managed, like you have 1,50,000 devices or devices, you can still manage with your primary, and you can also have some secondary sites. Okay, secondary sites here which will take care of everything. So cache is not absolutely required. Okay, it's not mandatory. Microsoft has already said this is an optional approach. Okay, cache is just to identify how
Can
things
we
are
can we
going.
solve cache later on?
we we'll take the questions later. Sorry,
Okay,
let me
okay.
finish it up. Okay, so primary site prereqs to ensure scalability, performance, and secure client communication. Okay, this is what the primary site motto is. What is branch cache? This is very much important. So branch cache is like one delivery per apartment floor. Okay, so for example, you have a you have 20 floor building. Okay, so in 20 floor building, there is one floor, okay, where this data is available. Maybe it's a refugee, okay, where you have this data. For example, we want to give what I say, bike or car parking stickers. Okay, so I have kept already here in this floor. So I don't want to go each floor and tell them like, okay, this is available here. You just go and you just tell like go to this 13th floor, for example, and get it here. So one delivery per apartment is already there. That is what the branch cache is. And branch cache is a OS feature. Okay, it's not SCCM feature. Okay, so don't get confused. Branch cache is SCCM. It's a OS feature. It's not SCCM feature. And this is what it's locating information to one particular place, and from there other clients can go and connect and get the information and get the data. All right. So one client will download all the content from the DP. Okay, other clients will download it from the local cache. So why branch cache is needed? Like here we don't need extra bandwidth. Like each device is going to connect to the DP distribution points and getting the data, and it is like choking the network, right? So what we do with branch cache, if that is enabled, we can simply enable this service. One machine will have that enough data on that, and local devices will go and local clients will go and get the data from there. So it will reduce the network chaos, network choke, and it will also save some bandwidth. So this is mainly used when you are having a small or medium branch offices, or you don't have any local distribution point, like you are at remote location, not saying Antarctica, but you have some remote location where you don't have good bandwidth and you have very limited resources. So at that point of time, we can have a branch cache setup, and we can enable this over the WAN, and this can be helping sharing the cached content among the clients. Okay, so this is branch cache. Peer cache is like on your laptop there is a mini server. Okay, it is as good like your SCCM client will act as a content source. So on my machine, for example, I have a SCCM installed and I have a SCCM client. So that SCCM client will act as a content source, and other clients which are nearby, they will pull the content. If they are on the same boundary group, they will come and connect to me and will get the data by the pull method. Okay, this is fully configuration manager controlled, but branch cache is not SCCM controlled. Okay, because that is a Windows service. This one is a config MGR or SCCM controlled service. So SCCM having an end-to-end control over this. This is used when you don't have any DP, you have a large application, or you're setting up some operating system contents, and this is something more on works with modern environment. So peer cache allows SCCM clients to connect, act as a content source for other clients, and get the pieces downloaded. What is difference in between branch cache and peer cache? So branch cache, feature wise, say branch cache is a technology which is there within the operating system. Okay, peer cache is a technology from SCCM side. Over, if I say control, so branch cache, we have a very limited control because this is an operating system feature. Peer cache, we have a full SCCM control because it's a SCCM feature. What is best for branch cache is best for small offices. Peer cache is best for the enterprise level. Content type, we can only send some basic cache. Branch cache, we can have only basic thing. Peer cache, we can have application updates, operating system, everything we can do it from peer cache. Okay, so this difference, they will ask you what is difference in branch cache and peer cache. This is very important question. Okay, so peer cache is more scalable and configurable compared to branch cache. So over the time, if you look for the enterprises, they have started using peer cache if they are still on the old environment. Otherwise, branch cache is being hardly used. Okay, how do you tackle client issues and achieve maximum patching compliance? This is $1,000,000 question. Like everyone is screwed up. They are afraid of how do we achieve maximum compliance with their patching in SCCM, and how we can securely say that our SCCM clients are way healthy and they are getting updates and everything. So compliance is what? You have a healthy client, you have a user behavior proper, and you have automation piece set up. Okay, so as an architect, you say that like step by step, first of all, I will go with client health monitoring. I will look at the client version, I will look at the services, I will look at the policy retrieval rate. Okay, what is the timing mentioned? Then auto remediation, I will look for the repair, SCCM client, restart services, trigger, machine policy. These three things I will do. Then user experience control, I will push a notification. Sometimes it happens like users do not restart their devices. Okay, as soon like we say that now we are running on Windows 11 25 S2 or 24 S2, but people are still on 23 S2. So we tell them like you need to restart your machine, you need to get these updates so that you go to the next level. So this notification we should be working out. We need to work on the deferrals so they do not defer the installs, and we should give some grace periods also. Okay, so first of all, my focus will be on a proactive remediation instead of a reactive ticket handling. I will not say like I have multiple tickets coming, okay, what to do. I'll think of in a logical way like how I can do a proactive remediation. Okay, then the question is, what was your previous month compliance level? Okay, so be very transparent, but don't say that it was something 90% or 80%. Okay, be very in a right architect answer, you'll say the compliance was around 97 to 98%, or it says it was 95 to 97%, but after automation it has improved to 98 and 98.5%. okay, something like that. So why interviews love this? Because when you show ownership, okay, see, I'm worried about the compliance, I'm actually looking at this and I'm thinking how to resolve this. I'm also looking at the measurements, how we can look at the client health, how we can look at the policy polling, all sort of things. I'm working on it, and some improvements. If you say like in the automation, through the automation I have changed this from 95 to 97 or 98%. So this makes them love, like, okay, you can take care of their environment pretty much better. Okay, so one more thing is, since I talked about this company, I talked about a company which starts with T and it's heavy duty stuff. Okay, it's a UK based company, and if I join, I'll be the one person from India as an architect. Okay, working for it. So it's a big achievement for me, and I have plenty of on-site opportunities. Okay, what is the benefit of being an architect? This is where you get the flexibility, and you are not weeping or crying for the opportunities, because you are equipped enough, your profile or your knowledge is equipped enough to set anything outside. So if there is any mergers or acquisitions happening, okay, they will prefer you on the first priority to go and set that environment for them. Okay, so that is what I'm trying to pitch in. I just want you to gradually elevate your career, guys, and come to the next level where the salary will not be compromised, your flexibility will not be compromised, your your only passion is to improve the environment. Being an architect, design in such a way that it should work peacefully. Okay, peacefully. What automation did you perform to increase compliance? So this is my answer. Like, I have developed a PowerShell, which is like in my current environment with two clients, I have done this. I developed a PowerShell restart automation that has prompted users with reboot details. So this has mentioned like, okay, your PC was restarted, our last logon was this and this. So this is required to enforce the security. I have given them 3 deferrals. Okay, it is as good as, I'll just show you. So this is a pop-up comes to the users. Okay, this says that this device is this and this is the last logon date when this was device. You have option, either you choose yes or you choose no. Okay, if they say no, okay, so it will again give another pop-up saying that, okay, you have, since you have chosen no but it is enforced, it's a security concern, please restart your machine as soon as possible. Okay, if they again, I mean, if they say yes, okay, or if they say no, okay, if they say yes, fine, it will defer that. If they say no, so it will also defer. Doesn't make sense. But if you say yes, so it will again restart. But if they say no, again, late next day they will again get the same prompt asking them to say yes or no. So this will allow them 3 deferrals. Okay, after 3 deferral, it will say a pop-up in 30 minutes your system will be restarted, so kindly save your work. So that way I ensure that yes, all the devices are enforced to restart. In Intune auto patch, there is an automatic feature also that you can use to restart the machine automatically. But in SCCM, I'm talking about if this is not there and they are more concerned about SCCM environment, in that we can develop a script and we can get this task achieved. Okay, why this works? Because there is a user awareness. Okay, user will getting the prompt and there is a control deferral, means we are not enforcing anything on user's device, we are telling them to choose yes or no. There is no endless postpone, means they can only choose 3 deferrals apart. I mean, later on it will automatically trigger a restart, right? And there is a better patch compliance. So once machine is restarted, we see that yes, client is talking to a management point and they are receiving the policies and everything is healthy and device is patched, means we have a better compliance. So powerful answer would be this automation has increased patch compliance by enforcing control reboots without impacting users productivity. This is what you can use in your interview. Okay, this is how you can tell like this is what I have created. So bonus for you, how do you track improvements? I'll go with the SCCM client compliance reports. I will check that. I will look for the update deployment status and also look for the client dashboard, health dashboard. Okay, so these three things ensures that yes, your environment is peace and solve working fine, right? OSD task sequence. So SCCM OSD task, what is OSD, what is task sequence? This is the question they ask. So in real example, like you are a car manufacturing, so you have chassis, you have engine, paint, testing, so all having a different assembly lines, right? It all goes into the sequence. So this sequence is what called task sequence in SCCM. Okay, so now technical term, what will happen? It will trigger a step-by-step workflow. It will automate your operating system deployment. You don't need to sit in front of the laptop to complete the operating system deployment on that. Okay, it will include partitioning, OS install, driver update, applications and other updates. It will do everything here. So the answer would be OSD is a task sequence which is an automated workflow which is used to deploy and configure an operating system. Simple. Okay, next question, what is boot sector? Okay, so I have asked this question to one of the candidate and he explained me something, some Linux so which was good, but I was looking for the to the point. So boot sector is nothing but it's an entrance door of a building. Simple logic. Okay, It's a first sector of the disk which contains instructions to load the operating system. So very simple, keep it clean. And this defines how the system will starts. This is what the boot sector is, nothing more than that. I don't want entire logic. How does this work? Okay. Boot sector contains startup information that initiate the operating system boot processes. Okay. What is boot image? So boot image is like an emergency toolkit. Okay. Boot image is what is Windows pre-environment. That is what boot image is. So it is used to start the deployment. If boot image is not there, full operating system deployment will not work. Okay. And this will contain network. This will contain network and storage drivers. Okay. Boot image is a WinPE image which is used to initiate OS deployment. Alright. How do you update drivers in boot image? So if you have worked on this, you will have experience. You need to import the drivers into SCCM, add it to boot image properties, or you have a separate drivers package which you can trigger later on and update the distribution points, regenerate WinPE image. Okay, that is what you can achieve. So drivers can be injected into the boot images and can be redistributed to the DPs. Okay, what are the troubleshooting in WinPE? What you can do? First of all, you can enable this F8. Okay, and this F8 is something which will help you enabling the command prompt during the WinPE environment. You can choose IP config to check whether the network is working or not. Disk part is something the disk validation will check. SMS log is the actual log which will cover all about the task sequence errors. So log files will be generated here. This will be X disk where Windows temp SMS logs and SMS.log. These logs are very important to troubleshoot and diagnose the problem. Okay. Now, during WinPE, we troubleshoot using command prompt and SMS log. There is no graphical interface, so we will only have the command prompt to access the logs. Okay. So boot and WinPE, then partition disk, then apply OS, then apply drivers, then install applications, apply updates, domain join, and finalize. This is how the flow of task sequence could be. Maybe you have a very complex task sequence, so it depends upon, but the basic one, something look like this. First it will boot, then it will go into WinPE environment where you will choose, you will be getting an option to select the task sequence. Once you selected the task sequence, click initiate. It will choose the partition disk. It will do that partitioning, then it will apply the operating system, apply the drivers and all sort of things which will work. So you can monitor this SMS log here and you can see what is happening in this. So task sequence executes in phases starting from WinPE to full operating system. Okay. So how do you determine driver updates during task sequence? So of course mechanic chooses parts based on the car model. Likewise, for every manufacturer model, we will run a WMI query. Based on that, we will choose the model and manufacturer. Driver package will be linked with the condition, global condition. If the condition, like if the laptop is something from the Lenovo and having this configuration, then this driver will be applied. In modern approach, we will use the driver automation tool through which also we can get this task performed. So drivers are applied dynamically using the WMI based condition, okay, that we can set in the task sequence. What is golden image? So golden image is a master copy of a document. It is clean operating system. We have a baseline applications. We have updates applied on this, and we have tested and sealed everything in its working. That is what the gold image. And then we create a reference image out of which, and then that reference image we start updating to all the clients. Okay. So golden image is a standardized pre-configured operating system image. Okay. How do you inject software updates in operating system image? So how we can do? We can choose two ways of doing it. One is called offline servicing, where we can inject. Okay, you can use the dism command. Using the dism command, you can update the inject the software updates in that. Also, you can do the online servicing, where you have in the task sequence, you can directly go and update the choose the software updates. Okay, that will be updated. So two ways of doing this task sequence. Okay. Updates can be injected during offline servicing or installed during the task sequence. So they will ask, what is thick image? Okay, why we can't use this, or why we avoid this? So for the faster maintenance or dynamic deployment, we should not be using thick images. Okay, we only use golden image to work on it. Why modern organization moves to Autopilot? Because it's a cloud first zero touch deployment, and it's more secure than the on-prem. Okay, this is what you can perform. Now software deployment is the next, which is on the architect level. What is the flow of software deployment, they may ask. So software deployment is, again, it's good as your Amazon has delivered, ordered, warehouse picks, delivery trucks, delivered to your door. Same, we can have admin who can create the application, can distribute to DP, policy sent to client will evaluate the detection, downloads contents, then install the application, re-evaluate the detection, and reports status says that yes, this is working fine, right? So a software development follows policy evaluation, content download, installation, detection, validation, and reporting. This is what the software development flow look like. Okay. People get confused. What is supersedence? So supersedence is nothing but you have an old mobile application version. For example, you are working on Android 14. Now Android 15 has come. So that is a new version. That is what called supersedence. So it means it will replace older version of application. It may uninstall. It may uninstall, or it may choose the skip. Depends on what the logic. Mostly it's uninstall the previous application and ensures that the single version is there for the compliance. Okay. So supersedence manage applications upgrades and replaced old version with the newer one. That is what the supersedence is. What is detection important? Detection means whatever logic that you have inserted in that product, that should be detected. If it's product code or if it's a registry key, file existence or script logic, so it will choose the detection accordingly. So detection ensures that SCCM understand that this application is successfully installed or not. Okay, so there could be different type of detection. Maybe we are using MSI, so we will have a MSI example. If you're using a script, it could be EXI, CMD, PS1, whatever. If there is AppV, it would be virtual application. If it's MSIX, then it's a modern packaging. So it depends upon which detection are you going to use, right? So it is more on MSI script based AppV and MSIX installation. So what if deployment keeps on failing? So first thing, most failures are due to detection logic. I mean, if you talk about any application, or this is not, the content is not distributed properly, or in the execution there is some sort of logic which is not properly working. So maybe it's incorrect logic, maybe distribution, we don't have proper boundary groups set up. So what logs we will check? App discovery and app enforce, these two logs we should check for the deployment. And we also need to understand what context was this application pushed to. Was it system or user, and what was the permission that is required? Okay, so these things we can have. Next question is, like, I have a 2000 application and I do a migration from SCCM to Intune. So how would I proceed? So first we will go with phased wise assessment. Okay, in phased wise assessment, we will first go identify what is the critical applications. If there is any legacy environment, because Intune does not support legacy applications. Okay, so we need to keep that in the SCCM itself. And what if we have any VDI applications? So we can exclude that as well. Accordingly, we can choose the migration plan. First, I think phase one, yeah. So phase one was this assessment. Second phase, we'll talk about the categorization of those applications in the category wise. And then phase 3, we will be doing the tooling. So we will either using Intune Win app util to convert these to Intune .win file, and we will convert this, or we will use MSIX to repackaging it, or we can also use the graph automation. Okay. If you're using co-management, you can shift application workloads from co-management, use a pilot group, and choose a gradual rollout from one shift to another. So I follow a phased risk-based migration approach using co-management and pilot rings. So these are the logs which are critical when you're doing application deployment. The first log, you will look for the policy agent.log. This is where you will see whether the policy received on that device or not. App intent eval, it will tell you whether the application is required or available. App discovery will look at the detection. App enforce will see whether the install is executed or not. Content transfer will see whether the content is properly handled, whether the content is received or not. And data transfer, it will say whether it's downloaded from the DP or not. Okay, so these things are required for an application. These logs are important to talk about it. So application issues are diagnosed by following the policy to execution log flow. This is how you troubleshoot if there is any failure of applications. Windows updates. So what is Windows updates? What are the Windows update for business? They ask like, what is Windows update and what is Windows update for business? What are the two terms we're talking about? Okay, so real time example, if you say you have a traffic signals in a city, so everyone does not move at once. It takes time. The flow is in controlled way, right? That is how the understand this is, you are at, this is a signal, this is one signal, this is the signal, right? So if this signals goes green, so only one way of traffic will be moved. So that is what called flow is controlled. Okay, that is what the Windows update for business is. Now here it says Windows update for business is more a cloud based, uses Microsoft update controlled by Intune policy and no WSO. So means here what will happen, we will have rings. Okay, we have multiple rings which is available. So this particular ring is what called pilot. Okay, the next ring will be more of the IT devices, for example, and this will be pre-prod, and then last it would be users. Okay, so that is how the rings are defined in this Windows updates for business. So Windows update for business is a cloud native service that manages Windows updates using Intune. How do you set Windows updates? So for high level setup, first you go to devices, whether these are enrolled or not, then configure the update rings. Okay, then assign to devices group. So rings, we already talked about it, and then adjust the policies. So Windows updates are configured using Windows update rings and assigned via device group. So this is how we can decide which group will take the updates first, and once they confirm that yes, it's going good, then you can move forward. What are the rings? So rings, we talked about, like in a hotel or restaurant, you go, the chef is gonna test first whether it's it's correct or not. Then the staff will test. Then at last the customers. So this is where the pilot will come. This is where the IT devices will come, and then later on maybe we can have a pre-prod, and then we can have a production deployment. Okay, so pilot devices for IT devices, broad majority of the devices users, and critical is for production servers. So this is how the rings are defined. So that is why Windows update for business is more secure, and if we have any issues, we can reduce the risk. Okay, we can roll out. How can we roll back Windows updates? So roll back, like we have quality updates install, we have 10 days of rollback window. So when you are setting up this rings, you can decide like how many days you want this to be rolled back, or you want to stick to the older version. Feature update, so you can go back to the previous version. Pause updates, you can temporarily stop the deployment. That is how you can do a rollback. Okay, so this is very important. It happens like some critical updates has just come from Microsoft, and Microsoft has announced that this update has creating a problem, or maybe Citrix is telling some issues are happening because of this updates. So we can definitely roll back it to save our environment more secure. Okay, how do you check Windows update compliance? So Windows update compliance, there are multiple ways. First, we can go with Intune update reports. We can go with Windows update status reports, endpoint analytics, and KQL. So that is advanced. So compliance is mainly monitored using the Intune update reports and analytics. Okay, So we are approaching to the last, I mean, very soon. BitLocker is the thing which they will ask, like, what is BitLocker? So BitLocker is more of like you have a locker in your bank. So even if someone steals the locker without the key, they will not be able to read anything. Okay, that is the same, logic applies here. You have full disk encryption for your Windows. Okay, that is protecting your data at rest, and there is a TPM which will secure the encryption keys, and it will integrate Intune with SCCM and Active Directory. Okay, so that is where the BitLocker keys are stored. So if anyone is receiving your corporate laptop, they just stole it. As soon they are turning it on, it will come to the BitLocker screen. It will ask you, give us a password. Okay, without that, if they do not have any password, if it's encrypted, they need to connect to the people who are actually using that, who are the source of that device, to get the encryption keys. So BitLocker is a full disk encryption technology. So we are going to cover this BitLocker in our Intune masterclass, very detailed. So we'll talk about more on it, how we can secure device, how we can protect, so it can, even though it's lost or stolen, we can still have this, safe. Architect level BitLocker design, how would we? So first we will go with cloud devices, where Intune will come precedence. Hybrid, if you're using, then you have Intune plus AD. If you're using on-prem devices, then you can have SCCM or GPU applied for this BitLocker design. What could be the prereqs? You should have TPM, you should have secure boot enabled, you should be having a supported operating system, you should have recovery keys stored location somewhere. Okay, then you need to configure policies. So in Intune, you can configure OS drive encryption, how would be the removal drive encryption, whatever encryption method you want to choose, you can apply in that configuration. And then you can choose the recovery keys. So always recommended to go with Entra ID. Okay, so to have these keys stored. You can also have Active Directory if it's on-prem, or you can choose a SCCM database. In user experience, it will be a very silent encryption. User will not be prompted for anything. It is all gonna be in background, and once they restart, only they are requiring this BitLockers. Otherwise, it will work flawlessly. Okay. Last thing is to monitor and compliance. Should look at the Intune compliance policy, how your BitLocker design is working, and look at the BitLocker reports and endpoint security dashboard to see if there's any compromise with the security. Okay. So device enrollment, first TPM should be validated, BitLocker policy should be applied, encryption should start, recovery keys should be scored, and also compliance should be reported. What we do common mistakes here. I mean, I've seen multiple people doing this, enabling BitLockers without key backup, which will create a mess. Okay, you are forcing a pin on all users. Don't do that. You're ignoring TPM readiness. Please don't do that. No recovery process, that will stuck you in infinite loop. I mean, you will not be able to recover that device at all. How we can troubleshoot? Quick tips. BitLocker is not enabling means TPM is not ready. Key not in intra means there is a policy missing that need to check. Repeated prompts means secure boot is off. So BitLocker will protect your enterprise data when the device is falling in wrong hands. So these things should be checked properly, right? Okay. They will ask, like, why should I use Intune over SCCM? What is the benefit out of it? So tell them, like, see, Intune shift device management from infrastructure heavy to cloud native, scalable, and zero touch. In SCCM, we require servers, right? Intune do not require any server, right? SQL we require with the latest version with the license. Okay, we don't require this. We don't require any SQL. Patching, it's your headache. Of course, we are doing it from SCCM. You need to have a WSUS synced. It will connect and download the database, Microsoft catalog and all. It will sync, and you will see the patches and all. Then you extract which patch I should be taking. If there is a third-party patches, I need to do all this. Headache is there. Here, Intune takes care about auto patching, so it checks on the device what patch should this device be needing, and accordingly it will push it. High availability. So SCCM is very complex. So you need to be very secure. We need to be very focused on keeping this on a high availability. This is where Intune is being managed by Microsoft. So you don't need worrying about anything on the high availability side. Okay. So that is how the differentiation and benefits you can quote. Intune will remove the operational overhead of maintaining on-prem infrastructure. That is the first thing that you should be telling. Okay. How to convince clients to start using cloud infrastructure? So first of all, don't talk about technology, talk about the business plan. Tell them what, first of all, identify what is the pain area of client. Tell them like every now and then we are experiencing VPN issues, hardware refreshes gets delays, security breaches are there, high infra costing are coming, we are removing work challenges, remote work challenges are coming. So how can we do it? So in a business language, you don't talk about that, okay, it is scalable, Azure is this and that, we can do this. No, talk about if the system, talk about the pain point. What if the system goes down during the peak usage? Still we can have the business as usual running. There will not be any disruption, okay, because of the cloud entities are there. So talk in the cloud infrastructure in the favor of not destroying the environment, but telling like how we can secure this in a long term. Okay. How to create and share reports with clients? So I think I already covered. We can have multiple SCCM patch compliance, Intune compliance reports. All these, what we can do, we can create reports and we can send it. Reporting method, what you choose. So I am using Power BI. So or you can use built-in reports. You can create custom SQL reporting. You can use Power BI or you can use a Graph API for automation. So mainly, I would say Graph API is more of the automation, but PowerShell is something, Power BI is something everyone is looking for the visual dashboards like. So this is very important. If you can publish that, you can create and make it like that. Okay. So, or we can also do a big plus if we can set something with automation. Example, we can send our weekly compliance reports to your client. You can change and move it monthly security scores with your security team and past success trends. You can collect it from your report and you can share that. So that will give you a boost. I mean, your client will definitely applaud for that. All right. So final motivation and how to crack the interview with confidence. That is the first thing. So first, the truth is interviews are not exam. I've seen people like they giving exams like, okay, I was interviewed one person and he was reading through over the chat GPT. So whatever question I'm asking, for example, I say, what is the difference of branch cache and peer cache? So he's repeating the same. Okay, sir, you're asking what is the difference between branch cache and peer cache? Why? Because in front of, he has opened this chat GPT and he was playing that mic button, and whatever he is saying, that same is coming in front of him and he was just reading it out. So interviews are not exams. Okay. It's like a conversation, how much you can engage. So all these 4 interviews which I concluded and I appeared and I got the offers, 3 offers I got, 2 are in offline, I mean in pipeline right now. What I'm trying to say, when I converse, I see only on my camera, which is on my laptop, okay, and I showcase them like, okay, I'm talking to you only. So this one interview with the Fortune 500 company, which is a tech giant, they were talking about UK placement, and the 2 people from UK side, they were talking and they were more on understanding about what my mindset is. They are not talking about any technical stuff. They know that I know I can fix it. Also, I told them like we are in age of intelligence, so I don't think I need to recall all the logs and everything. I know how to tackle it. You just tell me what to do, what to resolve. I can do it. Okay, by using whatever tool you say, I can use it and I can fix the problem. But what they are actually looking, how I'm prepared and do I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. Okay, So interviewers are not looking at the perfect command, or they know that you have memorized, okay, this TP, this should be the log, and this and that. Okay, they're only looking at what logical thinking that you have, how step by step you can resolve this. Have you ever encountered such problem? Like they have asked me, this was a very basic question, like I have an Entra ID, and I'm experiencing this problem. Microsoft has said like this is a by default 30 minutes polling cycle, we cannot change it. So what should I do? So I said, okay, why don't we create a script and just put that delta sync running on that DC, so that will solve your problem. So every now and then we can set the polling cycle and it will run that script using the automation, or you can schedule a task scheduler through which we can do this. So he was like, wow, I mean, I was literally looking answer for this and you resolved my problem. So the conversation is more of to check like how you think to resolve the problem. Okay, and your confidence is your, like, whenever you are coming up with the interview, be well prepared. And well prepared means you know about the company for which you are going to appear for interview. You know what is their turnover, what was the start, what is the name, okay, of that company, what that stands, how many offices are there, what this company is prominently doing for, all sort of things you should be knowing way before. So you already know more than enough, you don't need to brush it up at all. Okay, you already have handled issues, most of you have handled production issues, you have already fixed numerous things under pressure, you have already learned multiple technology. He asked me like what tools have you worked so far, so I told like I've given you a list in my resume, I've given like 14 to 15 tools which I have used in my environment. So tell me which tool you want, if I am not aware I will learn it. Okay, so interview is only asking like, can I trust this person in my environment? Can I leave certain things at his shoulder? Will he be working? Will he be able to, fix that or not? So the secret formula is think like an architect. Like you are the whole and soul of the company and you have set up everything. So if anything is broke, you will be the first point of contact. So accordingly, you take the responsibility. Okay. Speak like a consultant, like I will give you this step, you suggest me which step is suited to you, accordingly we can move forward. Okay, and act like as an owner, like, okay, I own this, if I am chosen, I will be changing this in an operational thing, I will change this in my architect design, this is what I'm going to do. So more of your sentences also should be something like, from an architectural perspective or in a large enterprise environment, my approach would be this, I'm thinking like this is what I think I should be moving to change, this depends upon business impact, whatever, that seems like these lines will talk about the maturity, which will not talk about the arrogance. One more flaw I've seen, people start arguing with interviewers. No, this is how it is, I know I have done this and that, I know this is how it should look like. Don't argue and don't panic. Please ask like, I did not get your question, can you please articulate it again so I better understand and I do it. Or just tell like, see, I have not done in my environment, I have not done this, but certainly if I'm getting a chance, these things I should be performing and I should be working on it. Okay, don't say I don't know, because that will stop you then and there. Okay, this person doesn't know, why should I spare much time on evaluating? Okay, so if you are stuck somewhere, tell like, let me explain how I would approach it. That is more than enough. That is where you will win the situation. Okay, all right, so mindset, when you walking into the interview, what would be the mindset? That I'm not here to beg for a job, I'm here to solve problems. Okay, people are begging for job, I've seen on LinkedIn and other platforms, they are like posting like anything, or they are applying jobs for anything, they are begging literally to give me job and all, they are immediate joiner, or they are like 90 days notice, people are not considering me because I have a 90 days notice and all. No, it is not like that, they are actually looking the right candidate. And if I can crack 4 interviews, if I can get offer letters from 5 companies, I better know how to tackle what should be the mindset, because people tend to forget that they are architects, they are the consultants, they are not the beggars outside. Okay, so I'm here to solve problems. Whatever, as an expert experience, you will get gradually more info and you will learn more things. So be your mindset should always be to solving the problem. Okay, never beg. Some people I've seen that they start negotiating on the salary, they give up at times, or they compromise on the salary. No, there should be a proper mindset and there should be a proper negotiation on the offer letters as well. Okay, so definitely they will give you joining bonus, definitely they will give you relocation, definitely they will give you all a variable pay and everything they will give you if you are performing well, and if you have way of articulation, if you can put your words in a proper, if you can frame it in a proper way, definitely they will. So final line for you guys: confidence is silent. When you are confident, it should sound, they can feel it like you're confident. Okay, and preparation is loud. So if you're doing a preparation, make sure that whatever you are learning, you are understanding it with the real example. As we talked about Windows Autopilot, we talked about branch cache. We have 20 floor, we have 1 floor or 13 floor where we are keeping all bike and car sticker. Likewise, understand the logic and then prepare yourself. So you have already done the preparation, now be confident and appear. Whatever it will happen, it's not a final interview at all. Okay, so this is the final line. Okay, we are available on YouTube, so all the videos which are publishing, this video is also gonna be uploaded on Annectens Academy video YouTube channel. Please go. If and I've seen so many people, they have messaged me that I could not join this session. Please record this. It will be very fruitful. So we are gonna record this and we are uploading this shortly. You can get it on Annectens Academy. Plus, there is a website called annectens.odoo.com. You can go and refer whatever the new courses we are launching, whatever new blogs and forums, whatever certification help you require, you can post it over there, or you can directly connect over the WhatsApp. We are there to help you out. Okay, so this is our contact number, this is our mail ID. If any concerns, any doubt, any one-to-one help is needed, if there is any issues and concern with your offer letters or anything, you can directly connect and we'll help you out. So signing off for the day, guys. Thank you so much of all of you. It's been 3 hour session. I would request you to please send me queries one-to-one. Definitely will help you resolving that. Okay, thank you.